Four. 1, 2, 4. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to move into approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion if everybody has had a chance to report? Most people have had a chance to review the minutes. Sweet. Okay. All in favor? 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. So proxies don't get a vote. So proxies can talk and contribute. Sorry, it's okay. I did that too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All abstaining. All against. Okay. My motion of 9-0, the motion passes. The minutes are approved. Okay. Let's move on to approval of the agenda. So. Yes.
Make motion to add summer guidelines for their.
Yes, I actually. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, no motion is necessary. Just a proposal, then we'll motion for the whole agenda as a whole. Can you tell? I'm pretty sure we did Dr. Geller's not here right now because the USAC meeting is happening now, but they are voting to make the student initiated outreach committee because the USAC seconded it. I think it's better because if they do vote that and you only go to consent items, you're going to have to approve the other appointment for action. It would be very, I would encourage you to make an action item. Sorry? Yes, it was also for CRC, so CRC had to make a separate motion to make action item too. The SAC allocation, I thought it was CRC decided as well. Oh, no. Okay. So,
yeah, so we can make it.
Okay, so we have to do a motion for that, and this has to pass by 2/3 vote. So, you want to make a motion?
I make a motion to make my appointments to the CRC and SIOC a action item.
Any seconds? Okay. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah, 9. By motion 9-0, the motion passes, and all these items will transition to action items. One question I have for Dr. Geller, who's not here, is we might be striking my appointment for CRC tonight, just because I haven't had a chance to review them yet. The one concern was when CRC's retreat is. Anybody, which I'm pretty sure is paired with SIOC as well. Does anybody know the timeline for when CRC and SIOC retreat is? So we have our next council meeting is the 17th.
However, I think they require about 2 weeks to get the letter from Chancellor Block in terms of the appointment to the next retention.
Okay. Do we know what the date of the retreat is?
Should be the last weekend. That's when it normally is. There's no official date.
Okay. I mean, that's 2 weeks, and I'm not necessarily comfortable moving forward with my appointments that I haven't had a chance to review yet. So I'm just going to strike that for tonight and review those and then bring them up next council for now. So just my series. Yeah, so table, yeah. Other amendments? Yes. So strike for advocacy grant allocations.
Strike SWC program fund.
Strike SWC programming fund allocations.
Can you repeat that?
So strike room advocacy grant allocations and then strike SWC programming fund allocations.
We also strike a government. Can I also make a motion to add I want to have my appointment for the writing success stories.
Is this a consent item?
It's a
Any other items? Okay, can I get a motion pending the names and we will provide to approve the agenda? Yeah. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By motion 9-0-0, the motion passes and the agenda is approved. Okay, with that, we're going to move right into UCBD final updates. Thank you, Kevin, for being with us all years.
Good evening. As we approach the last week, I guess, of school, obviously things will be coming up that you'll be seeing UCBD around campus in much higher numbers due to graduations and things like that that are happening on campus. And then obviously next week is the last Sunday run of the academic year. So if you choose to go out and take part in the Sunday run, please make sure that you are cognizant of your surroundings, be careful, make sure that you're walking with others when you're going back to your res halls and apartments on the west side or the east side of the campus. I know that this is college and that you may be pre-gaming beforehand, but make sure that you can take care of yourself. And of course, if you are not 21, you're not supposed to be drinking beforehand, so, or anytime. So those are my points of advice for you. Any questions that you might have for me as you go into summer?
Anybody?
You will not see me for your virtual meetings over the summer unless there's something that you need me to be present for, and I'm happy to be part of that. You'll just have to educate me on how I need to be part of that virtual meeting. Otherwise, I will plan to see the first Tuesday meeting of each month, starting the first week of October, coming back to the next academic year.
Yeah, he's safe and well, from my understanding.
Yes, yes. Any other questions? Okay, if you don't need me for anything, feel free to reach out to me. I will be around all summer, even in your absence. If you're traveling back home or wherever you may be traveling to, have safe travels, especially those of you who are driving across the country. Watch out for the police.
I think we pull over usually. Okay, so, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, let's move on to contingency programming.
Hello, I'm David. I'm proxying for Nadia today. So this week we received 4 contingency programming applications requesting a total of $5,932.01. And we have approved, or we recommend allocating a total of $2,700.
Motions. Or, sorry, are USAC entities included in this, do you know?
I'm sorry.
Is it all student work, or are there USAC offices that apply as well?
No use.
Student. So to non-USAC. Can I get a motion?
I motion to approve $2,730 to non-USAC.
Awesome. Okay, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, all abstaining? All against? By motion 8-1-0, the motion passes. The contingency program and allocations are approved this week. Thank you. And then further capital contingency allocations?
No, we're not.
Okay, awesome. We'll move on from that. Special presentations, on-campus application. Kim?
Oh, are we going right now?
Yes. Are you quick tonight?
So I actually have a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know who's controlling the thing right now. Oh,
Or do you want like up in your laptop?
it's like a Google Slides. I was wondering if I could just, because my laptop doesn't have HDMI.
just share it, or if you want, I can log out and log in.
Yeah, I do that.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Most of these don't.
On my thing, or.
No, no, I mean, just like,
Yeah, yeah.
You sure you're tracking?
So just plug that back in.
Kim, was the that you posted on the USAC Facebook page tonight? Or, sorry, not the section, the, live.
Yeah, it should.
I don't think so. I don't see it on.
so, yeah, I have a friend who's also I could just go ahead and get started. I'll introduce myself. My name is Michael. I'm a second year computer engineering student at UCLA. I'm a part of a club called UCLA DevX. We're a computer science club that makes products that hopefully helps UCLA students. And so my product is called On Campus, and we're all about helping students find clubs that they'll truly love when they get to school. So we can start with the problem. The problem that my team and I have found is there's no central hub for students to have comprehensive information about clubs on campus. Right now, we have a lot of scattered sources of information where students need to kind of discover for themselves what works and what doesn't for them. So this is the current club finding flow that we've identified. There's this general first exposure. It's like enormous activities fair, which is really well run, flyering on Bruin and then through word of mouth, casually. But it's the follow-up process that gets a little sketchy. There's a lot of Google searches, scrolling through Facebook pages, and those Reddit threads. People are trying to look what type of people are in this club, what type of people are in that club. There's no really central location where they could just get all the information they want in one place. And there's also no way to compare similar clubs on campus. Say you go to enormous activities fair, you see this really awesome cultural events club. But you think to yourself, wait, this can't be the only cultural events club. There are different groups on campus that you may want to explore similar to this club, just to see which benefits you the most. So the follow-up process is scattered, and this is kind of a crucial step for our students to join the club. So this is our solution. We made a web platform that basically helps students find clubs and find all their information in one single place. This on the left-hand side is a screenshot of the homepage. This discover the student group you love. That's a search bar for searching in interest areas, hobbies, whatever pertains to the student. On the right-hand side is going to be our flyer. I'll talk about why I put that there right now. So we started in January 2019, so actually this year, our project started at the beginning of this year, and we've already designed the prototype, conducted user tests, onboarded an engineering team. We have over 100 clubs information in our database right now. And we partnered with New Student Orientation, so that flyer that you saw right there is going to be directly handed out to every single incoming student on campus. Our soft launch was actually yesterday, so that's what we're going to demo for you guys in a little bit today. This is like our beta launch, so it's not the full version. There's still like little like bugs here and there, but it's going to give you like a general idea of what the platform provides. And our official launch is going to be at the end of this month. That's because orientation starts in July. So our ultimate vision is to become like the brew and walk for student groups and organizations. So like there's this great platform where people can find information about like their classes, professors, ratings, and reviews. But there's no like place that's comparable for student groups and organizations. So ultimately, that's what we're trying to build. And so yeah, now we'll go to our demo. So our domain name is oncampus.us. So this is currently live, but please do not bombard it with requests because it's beta, and we want to keep it to like a confined group of people. So as you saw in the screenshot, this is how our homepage is generally going to look like. You can discover the student group you love, and you can start searching interest areas like technology or environment. We'll do that in a sec. But say you don't have anything in particular that you really want to search, you could go ahead and go to our browse. Right now we have an incomplete like a demo for you guys. This isn't like all 100 clubs onboarded. I just put in some sample data just for you guys to see like how it works. So you see like the most popular, like based on number of clubs in our database, interest area groups. You see there are clubs like Green Ventures, Green Women in Business, Green Consulting, Green Asset Management. And of course, these are all business clubs. I just chose it because it was at the top. And you could see, you could like browse through these, and eventually it'll be populated with all the clubs in our database. You could go to dance or engineering. Hey, this is our club. So yeah, you could like browse through these, and say if you really take interest into any one of these particular clubs, say, oh, renewable energy, I like renewable energy. I'll click on it, and right now it takes you to this sample page. And so I say sample page, but this is the actual data in our database. Here's the cover photo that REA has submitted to us. That's REA. These are some tags that are associated with the club, such as like environmental engineering service. So you can get a general vibe of what type of club this is, learn about what the club does, who's generally a part of the club. Have some quick hitters like, okay, do you want to join a big club or a small club? How much time can you invest in a club that you want to join? And the skill level that you need in order to join the club. And then on the right-hand side, this is the beta part. So general meetings, they didn't fill anything out there, and it should be blank. Here are clickable links. So as you see on the bottom left, this goes to Facebook, their Facebook page, and then you can email them as well with the email they provide. And then the application process. So this is also beta. It'll eventually just be one step. And you see there are like some design quirks here that may not be lining up. But at full launch, they will, and this is like a general idea of how our application is going to work. And this isn't the only way to like get clubs that you really want to join. You can use the search feature. So we also have tags in our club database right now. So say you want to search tech, it says you have searched for tech, and now I see all the engineering clubs, kind of, or the clubs that say they're like technical in some way. You see on this right hand side, you can filter for different things that new students might wanna know about, such as meeting times. So I know for sure that DevX meets on Thursdays. So hopefully they show up right now, and they do. And then Bruin Ventures also meets on Thursdays. I don't know when RAA meets, but I'm sure I could find it eventually. But, or maybe they don't meet. Some clubs are unique. But yeah, so this is all based on like directly from executive board. So how we got this information is we reached out to the e-board of each organization just to make sure we're representing their data correctly. We don't want any outdated or false data. And so if they didn't fill out like different meeting times or whatever, they wouldn't show up in that filter. But what we ultimately want is to make sure that students know that we exist and that they can actually use our services to make their college experience better and their club finding search experience better. So why I'm here today talking to you guys is, like really I wanted to just expose our product to USAC, but also we want to explore partnerships with Enormous Activities Fair and the Seoul office. Not entirely sure who's directly in charge of that, but hopefully someone can like with me. Yeah, that's what that's.
A lot to say, I'm assuming.
This is gonna be very helpful in terms of like, just our goal is, I think, to facilitate, really facilitate, right? And you with your contact people, really help with that. And in terms of connecting people, I think, Cultural Affairs Commission, Campus Events Commission would want to definitely collaborate with you all in terms of getting your product out.
With Seoul, definitely that information that's online. Mike is the director. They're going downstairs in the first floor. They have a ton of information on every student where they exist on this campus. So they strongly recommend you use them. Then Kim, obviously. Other questions? Yeah.
So I know Seoul already has a search engine.
Right.
For clubs, and honestly, I can see what but I think my question is related to updating. This is like your project, your project, and in terms of like updating information for like signatories, advisors, just website, who's gonna be in charge of updating all of that when you're obviously not administrative, or who would be able to sort of gather all that information absolutely. Because like that's why like obviously the Soul Search Engine, it's not well publicized, there's issues with it, that basically just speak to the fact that it's just a website where it's just like a whole platform, but you speak on that a little bit.
Sure. So I went ahead and navigated back to the homepage. I did mention we started at the beginning of this year, so our core focus was just getting our core functionality done.
Yeah.
Next quarter, we're going to work on a club portal. So this is a portal where like people, like executive board members of clubs can log in, directly change their information, and verify their identity. Right now, we currently have this apply as club kind of side widget here, and that brings you to our club form. So this is how we're collecting all our data. This is like a multi-page form with with all the information, but that will be replaced with, the platform that we're gonna develop in the fall, if that makes sense. And we should be fully self-sustaining after that.
Okay, and then, chat follow-up.
Sure.
So in terms of the amount of information that's already on the like soul page, and then search engine that they have, like, do you have any, plans to sort of transfer that information over? Because I feel like honestly getting every single organization at UCLA, which would be the ideal to, submit information to you, is like a pretty lengthy and difficult task. So is there, do you have any plans to like transfer that information over, or is there anything with like consent or anything like that where you would be able to do something like that?
Right, so, we would like to, like, meet with Soul so we could directly get that information. Right now, we're collecting information manually because, like, if you saw the club page, there are like some pieces of information that, that Soul doesn't have publicly, at least. And right now, we can, like, just go to a Soul directory and, like, scrape all of their public information, but we want a little more than that. So we're trying to, like, work with Soul to see if they could, like, add parts of their club application process, maybe integrate it into, like, oh, if you want to sign up for Enormous Activities Fair, here's this optional form, that's highly encouraged. Those are, like, kind of the avenues we've been thinking about. But if Soul has more to offer, we'll definitely appreciate it. So, yeah.
If I could just add to that, I think there might be a way, I think Nico was kind of saying this too, is that if there's some sort of way to integrate like your system into Soul, just so there's not two separate like search engines. Like obviously, I think we all agree that yours seems far more updated and easier to use. If there's a way to work with them, I feel like they would gladly accept that. If you're willing to do that, so I definitely encourage you to explore that option. Other questions, comments? Okay, thank you again for coming out. Let's go move right into appointments. Yay! I'm gonna start with mine. So I'm gonna actually sorry, public comment. Yeah, I skipped that. Public comment is 2 minutes. Each person shall speak once. We're going to do a no audio, no video first session, and then a audio, no video second session, and then a audio and video. I'm gonna sneeze, so like sorry. Third session. Some reminders is freedom of speech is not being taken from accountability. Each member of the public once and only once for 2 minutes. Please be respectful. Use gender neutral pronouns. And I think that's it as far as our reminders for the public. Other than that, we're going to move into no audio, no video. So first row, second row, third row. Last one. Okay, let's move into audio and video around the public comment. First row.
Hi guys, my name is Safara. I'm the chapter chair for Calvert Students here at UCLA. Didn't know yet. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick update about one of our campaigns that we're working to make voting easier for students on campus. And right now we're working on getting a vote center on campus where students would be able to same day register to vote and vote conditionally to make it a lot more accessible for first-time voters. So we're actually going to be attending one of the vote center community meetings tomorrow. So if you guys have anything around that you would like me to take to that, I know Lily let me know about something. If you guys have anything else that you would like me to go and tell the LA County Register able to conditionally vote and register on the day of the election for the 2020 election. And I also just wanted to let you guys know about our campaigns that we're going to be running coming up this fall, so that if there's anything that overlaps any of your offices, we would obviously love to collaborate with you on any of that. So our lead campaign is going to be our Break Free from Plastics campaign. We're going to be working to reduce plastic pollution on the state level, especially trying to ban polystyrene, or what's commonly called styrofoam, because it takes hundreds of years to break down and fills up our landfills and ends up in our oceans and it's harming marine life. And then we are also going to be running our campaigns to end student hunger on campus, ban fracking in the state of California, make textbooks more affordable, especially implementing course marking so that students know how much their textbooks would cost before they sign up for classes, as well as our New Voters Project as well. So definitely, if you guys are interested in that, we know AAC is super down on the textbooks affordability, and if there's anything else around that, we would love to work with you. Definitely reach out to me. And since it's probably the last meeting, I don't know if you guys have one next week, but I won't be here. Well, I hope you all have wonderful summers and actually have a chance to relax and take a break. Y'all deserve it.
Thank you. I can tell you basically deserve a seat at this table.
I would like one.
one.
I'll bring my own flash, babe.
Do it. Okay, let's keep going.
My name's Nick. I'm a member at large for the California chapter at UCLA. Currently running the No Bees, No Food campaign, and I'll be running our textbook affordability campaign next quarter. So I can give a little bit of an update on those campaigns. Y'all have probably heard the bees are dying at alarming rates, with beekeepers reporting that they're losing 40% of their colonies each year. And it's super important because bees pollinate 70% of the crops that we eat: strawberries, chocolate, coffee. I don't know how we'd get through finals week without coffee. We're actually having a No Bees, No Coffee event next week at the library, when they're like giving out coffee to like hand out some educational information to students, and also ask them to write letters to the chancellor in support of UCLA becoming a certified bee-friendly campus. So that's what we've been working on doing. It's like through this nonprofit called Bee Campus USA, becoming certified bee-friendly, which just means we're like educating the campus community, and we have a campus pollinator habitat plan. So that's what we're working on over the summer, is making sure we have a plan for that. Getting funding, because there is a $500 fee, so we're working through the Green Initiative for that. So that's what we've been working on. The long-term goal is to ban a class of bee-killing pesticides called neonics in California. The other campaign is textbook affordability. A couple of things we're going to be focusing on, like course marking, so working with like the faculty senate on that and showing student support, like gathering surveys. And then also connecting professors with the Affordable Course Materials Initiative at UCLA. That's like an open textbooks grant program for professors to switch to open textbooks, which are published under an open license, so they're free for students. Yeah, that's the update. Everyone have a great summer, and looking forward to working with all of you next year.
On to the second row.
So I'm here with a number of like student workers and with like lab spaces and other student worker spaces. And for a while they've been like looking for like ways to like best like represent and like bring resources and education to like workers' rights and advocate for student workers on campus. The many that exist, I mean, there's 600 within like what's called student media alone. And there's a lot of workers through a lot of spaces on campus. So they're looking for a referendum, and I know a lot of the referendum process. I've been like showing them like ways that could work. And basically what they want to do is they want to create a student worker representative position on the council. And what we're here like ask and talk about tonight is basically if like we can work with different council members through Article IX Section C to see if council members discuss the item, potentially vote on it for a referendum in the upcoming election to take that position. And I just wanted to also like list the reasons why I 100% think it's needed before like the other students here talk about it. But one, the undergraduate community is almost completely underrepresented. There's unions for like graduate students, but some of the only students who are unionized as undergraduates are students who take on like teaching type positions and research positions. So they're underrepresented in that aspect. And also too, the scope of it is a huge reason why we need a student worker position. There are so many student workers on campus. We did a petition, you got a bunch of signatures, which will be later discussed by another student. And it includes like every community on campus, from AB 540 students who don't have some access to be able to work in the first place, to students on the Hill. It also prepares and educates all students about the economic realities of face going into the work field. And that's not public comment.
Yes.
Hi. Sorry, my name is Chelsea Diapa. I use they them pronouns. I also want to talk about this referendum and getting a student worker representative office in USAC. Just kind of also to talk about my own experiences. I've worked at UCLA for every year I've been here 3 years. I am a career trans person of color and who's also disabled, and I know that there's so many issues that students face while working here, and also I'm sure in their other jobs that they just don't have a body to complain to or representative to help them with. I face discrimination at work, and I could really benefit from things benefit from benefits like healthcare that student workers are denied because, one of the reasons probably is because they don't have any representation to fight for them. And while also handing out petitions at work, I work with the study right now. I know that all of my coworkers who I've talked to about it have been really enthusiastic about the idea of there being a student worker position in USAC. They thought it could really help them and it could really help them with their other needs, like while being low-income students and being of marginalized identities as well. I also wanted to read off a list that we compiled of like things this office could possibly do. One, advocate for better working conditions at UCLA because students again have no representation. Also fighting for like things like higher wages, more flexible hours and benefits. Two, providing legal advice and access to legal help. Also maybe funding for legal help and advising people on workplace disputes, again like managers or something like that. Advocate for undocumented student workers because many of them are relying on scholarships and don't find ways to work on campus or around campus. Advocate for resources for low-income students and providing resources for low-income students, like helpful information about where to get jobs on and around campus, and maybe compiling lists and distributing widely, like lists of food closets and affordable housing opportunities. We can support student worker organizing efforts at workplaces. Sorry, is that a time?
Oh, 5 seconds, yeah.
5 seconds? Okay. Sorry. What do you got here?
Yeah.
I
Can I share my time with them? Like,
Oh, yeah, you have time to do 2 minutes.
Oh, sorry. So providing organizing trainings to help students organize their workplaces and also maybe providing the funding to help them organize. Address UC policies which hurt student workers. For example, like the whole thing with UC PATH and delaying paychecks. And also something I found out recently from a TA of mine who used to be a sex worker. There's many sex worker students at UCLA, but many cannot perform their work anymore because UCLA censors some of the websites that students can access on campus, including things like camming websites. So preventing students from working. Holding Know Your Rights workshops because there's a lot of wage theft that's done even here on campus, and students don't know about it and don't know that's even an issue. Working with international students for job opportunities and helping them file things like tax returns and like finding work study opportunities. Advocating for marginalized workers like queer workers, trans workers, workers of color, disabled workers, working women, and working with like cultural orgs, resource centers, and things like ethnic studies departments and like disability studies departments. And conducting research on student workers in conjunction with the Labor Center to find out more about what student workers must need. So that's kind of like a quick rundown about what I think the office can do and would be really helpful in doing.
Thank you.
I think.
You do still have like 30
Was that
seconds
the-
left.
Oh,
Did you want to talk about it, Ivan?
I'm also a student worker on campus, and I work at Louval Commons, and there has been like issues of sexual harassment in our workplace, and a lot of students who actually went to HR didn't have, were faced like really invalidating like statements from the HR representative that was like, kind of just re-triggering for a lot of folks who like went to speak with her and kind of like invalidating their experiences. So I think like from that experience, a lot of students I know would be a lot more comfortable having a student representative to talk to them about these sorts of things. So that's like another thing that I think this office would be really helpful for doing. Because like right now, what HR has is not really supporting students.
Thank you all for coming on, Steve.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ulysses. I just wanted to follow up on what's been said so far. I think we can all see there is definitely a need for some position like this. I just want to say that with your help, we can definitely make this work. We think there's going to be a lot of student support for this. We've already collected about 115 signatures. We'd like a copy. I have some. We just did this to show that there are students who support the idea of having a student worker rep on USAC. Additionally, the Student Labor Advocacy Project, as well as other students who are trying to organize student workers here at UCLA, have also shown support for this sort of student worker representative, and we're going to be contacting numerous other organizations throughout this upcoming. Additionally, we can make the financials work. I talked to Mr. Tran, the manager of the Student Government Accounting Office, and when I spoke with him, he told me that they're going to be installing solar panels on the ceilings. They should be saving money on electricity. He also told me that if this gets voted in, they can find the funds to make this work. And last, I just want to wrap up by saying this is a position that will provide support to anyone who works, is looking for work, or has experienced any sort of work-related issues. These students definitely deserve USAC representation. We're going to do everything we can to make this happen, and we hope that you will help us. Thank you.
Third row. Any of the last rows. Final round for any public comment. Anybody? Okay. We're going to move on. Thank you for everybody who came out tonight for public comment. Appreciate it. We're going to move into appointments. So, I'm just going to go over the appointments process again, just so everybody knows, and we can make it as smooth as possible and make sure we're being as transparent as possible as well. So for all of these appointments, the process generally works the same, where there's a usually an introduction by the council member who's appointing them. So for example, me with DOD, saying why I appointed these folks or why my appointments coordinators recommended them to me. There will be a 1-minute introduction by the appointments. There will be a 5-minute question and answer. It's usually extended. I'm assuming it will be tonight. And then there will be a 1-minute closing. With that, council will move into a discussion, and then either we'll do an action item vote, where a majority vote means that the appointment pass, or if it's a consent item vote, it just means that if there's no opposition, the appointment will pass. So I will be ceding my time to two current members of BOD tonight, Aiden and Kevin. Thank you both for coming out tonight and speaking with us. We appreciate it. And I will be ceding my time to Jimmy for my appointments as well, to speak on his recommendations to me for my appointments. So we're going to start with BOD. Sienna and Alexis, thank you both for coming out tonight. I have known Sienna and seen her around in spaces. Alexis, I got to know you recently. So thank you both for coming out. These are both of my recommendations to BOD. When I ran for USAC, my really big goals were finding students that were from spaces that weren't traditionally represented by BOD, and also students that had experience in a place like BOD, and spaces like BOD, that I thought would be confident enough to do the job. With that, I think that you all share a lot of sentiments that I do moving forward with council. I think you all will be great on board of directors. Jimmy, I appreciate you for running through the interview process with them, and if you could go into more detail about your recommendations, that would be awesome. And then I can definitely see come to Aiden and Kevin as well. Jimmy.
Okay, cool. So this year to BOD, we got 10 applications. And considering, in our consideration for the best candidates for the ASU Nicole, who was my co-director, and myself, really looked at, passion and at, the different types of perspectives that our applicants have to offer. In our first step in the interview, we really looked at, both recommendations from current council members, and we also looked at their prior experience in dealing with positions that are similar to DoD and their on-campus experience as well. And so through our application review and our process, we recommended Sienna and Alexis to ASU Select DoD, and I'll just talk a little bit about it. So with Sienna, she had a lot of involvement in the larger workspace, and she had a very unique perspective she's part of the Filipino community, and she also is a resident assistant in the first community. So, taking that into consideration, she had a lot of experience in dealing with first year students and with what students need in terms of services. We asked all applicants during the interview how they envisioned themselves changing the way, or envision themselves changing how they would operate and if they had any and this is the case with both applicants, but with Sienna especially, she had some really good ideas in terms of determining where the Black Learning Resource Center should be, as that is an ongoing project. And she also demonstrated in her answers a lot of passion for why she wanted to be on ASU CLA DoD. And again, she had a unique perspective between the two. In terms of Alexis, very much the same. She has had a lot of experience working in ASU CLA. She currently works at the Senate office. She also demonstrated a lot of passion for being on the position, specifically with providing services to students who are not traditionally represented. And also, she had a very good passion for providing that and also allocating the spaces in ASU CLA. There are specific questions.
First, we'll go just basically 1 minute informal introduction of who you are, why you apply. We'll move on to the question.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Sienna. I'm a second year business economics major and accounting minor. So ASU CLA DoD is like directly in the line pathway that I'm trying to go to be like a co-curricular to extend my knowledge and like professionally develop myself in a way that is different from any other spaces that there are on campus, just because of like the sheer impact and the amount of students that it serves. And I've been involved in a lot of organizations from even before I came to UCLA because of the field programs, but so I'm involved in some, I have been for the past 2 years, and it's been a really like eye-opening experience for me and just my path to student advocacy and leadership in general. And this year I'm the financial coordinator, so it's an experience that is definitely transferable into ASU CLA DoD, because it's translating like the budget and trying to limit the out-of-pocket expenses for students and finding other ways to find the funding. Yeah, I'm very excited to work with you all in the next year. If I can get it limited, but.
And then we'll move to question and answer. Aiden and Kevin, please feel free to comment. I know that at least one of you has been at Sienna. Do you all have any thoughts you want to share initially? And then we can move to the question and answer.
Just my one thought about what to think about when considering appointments. I think because ASU CLA because DoD is such a unique role and it is so expansive, we have over $80 million students based on the experience like BOD that they already have, just because I don't think that there is room at UCLA other than BOD to get this experience. I think that the important thing to think about is, are these students willing to learn and learn very quickly, because there is a steep learning curve, and it's something that it's one of the reasons why BOD is a 2-year appointment, because the first year is a steep learning curve, and the second year you feel really comfortable and able to impact more of what BOD does. But I think that's what everyone should be thinking about is, are these students passionate? Are these students willing to learn really quickly? Do these students have experience in a lot of different org spaces so that they can get accustomed to BOD?
I would just echo what Kevin said. I don't think coming in as a point in last year, I would like to think I was qualified, but really no one is qualified until they take it on and learn over the 2-year process. So I wouldn't hold qualification for something similar to the DoD too highly. What I would really emphasize is the vision and values of the applicants, because the board space and the fact that the student run majority board allows students to impact the organization with student values. Examples of that in the past have been students who have championed ethical labor in our supply chain, students who have championed fair trade in our coffee stores, and sustainability in our business practices. So having that student conscience is a really, really important addition to the board. And so I would highlight those experiences and those perspectives when considering.
Thank you both, and please feel free to chime in throughout the conversation. So with that, I'll open it up for question and answer from council members. Anybody? I have a question. Have you managed a budget before, or something like a budget before?
Yes, as financial coordinator, as long as you know, I have managed the budget, and was like the only person managing the budget. With everything that I've done this year, I've tried to, like I said in my opening, like eliminate the out-of-pocket expenses for our general members. So with like our Philippines graduation celebration this upcoming Sunday or next Sunday, we're having every year students have had to pay $25 to be a part of it, and that just seemed very exclusive to me. I didn't want people to be limited by the money that they have, so I started from winter quarter applying for funding and reaching out to different businesses and sponsors that could potentially subsidize the cost, and we made it so that none of the students have to pay to be a part of it.
Other questions? I'm gonna keep asking questions. Okay, there we go. Naomi and then Mika. Oh, and then
Okay, so I feel like I really like what y'all said about there's no one, someone will pop on the other, whatever. But can y'all talk a little bit about your commitments for next year, given that DOD is an expensive commitment? How do you feel you're gonna manage that?
So, I am a resident assistant this year, and I'm going to be one next year as well, for Holly, the transfer experience LC. So, with that, I mean, I've always been like very, good at time management, and I feel that that will play to my strength next year for sure. But being a resident assistant is not as much of a time commitment as people portray it to be. I just feel as if it's really about like connecting the students and programming in ways that are helpful to them, and then they can be self-sustaining. Because for me, at least, like with all the student groups that I've been a part of, like we exist to not exist, and that's the same thing that I try to replicate with my school.
Mika?
So what are some ways before you apply or like during the application process you were looking to like learn about BOD? Like what did you learn and like how did you go about that?
So I really studied like the UCLA website. I read like this 2017, 2018 accomplishments like, pamphlet, and I read over like the minutes and stuff like that, just to like really see past, and it's something that I really found that I was interested in and that I wanted to.
So you mentioned that, student representatives will often champion something. What are you thinking? What's going to be your thoughts?
I think, as I said in our interview yesterday, I am very passionate about representing communities that have been historically pushed to the margins and haven't been represented in these spaces. Specifically, my background is in with the Filipinx community, and there hasn't been a student represented since 2012 in POT with the same background. But just paving the way for more students to come and that precedent to be set in the future. I'm a very strong advocate of the Black Learning Resource Center, and I want that to be something that is looked at and will be made space for in my term and will follow.
Good questions. Yeah, Lily.
From a facilities perspective, what is your knowledge of navigating spaces to provide something like the Black Bruin Resource Center? Or if you haven't.
I know that there are specific subcommittees within DOD, and that whoever is appointed to those is kind of takes that the way that they feel. But I mean, with your office, I would be definitely open to collaboration and working with you to, make those things possible. I can say that I would like to see us being more critical of the ways that spaces are being used and making sure that they're being used efficiently and for the right students for the right reasons. And that's something that I would like to do.
Great question. Other questions? Sorry.
In your AR standard, you talked about auditing space usage. What do you think would be the obligation for that, and how would you go about auditing spaces?
I know that there's already an auditing process in place with the office of, I'm not sure the name, but
Office of Space Allocation.
yes, space allocation. So I would definitely want to work with them to see what the criteria already is and to see how we can improve that or to make that more suitable to the needs that are being approved.
What do you think is going to be the most challenging part? I know the learning group was mentioned, is there anything more specific that you were to be appointed? You be most challenged by, and what are some ways you can focus on that?
I think with the DoD position in general, it's very broad. You can really figure out what you want to do with the position, and I think that's going to be my biggest issue. Is really tacking down the specific goal that I want to accomplish, because the projects that DoD runs are very long term and it's hard to see the bigger picture. But that's something that I mentioned to Aiden and Kevin when we talked, and that they have already validated and affirmed me on, and that I would be I would want to work toward it.
Do you feel like you're going to have a good relationship with, and Kevin, this is the end of your term, right? So, Aiden, Eric, Alexis is appointed. Do you feel comfortable with all those people, obviously? You've already engaged in dialogue with them, obviously.
Yeah, I met with Kevin, and Aiden on, that was yesterday, but it feels like forever ago. We're best friends. And I really connected with their visions and the work that they've done, and I was really kind of awestruck. But I would definitely I feel like I feel like I'm an easy person to work with, and I feel like I get those vibes from Aiden already, and from Alexis, so yes.
Yeah, Lily.
What is your comfort level with working with administrators on campus? And how will you navigate that relationship to advocate for student needs?
I think that I am professional, just like with my experience in Red Life, I've had to work with professional staff and faculty members, and so I have like those connections, and I'd be able to talk to them about that. But dealing with administration is something that I haven't had the chance to do yet, but I do look forward to it. I will definitely like advocate for student needs in the I guess I'm a little confused because in your interviews that you worked on helping students fight for different events that someone has or connect to be funded by UCLA and part or in both basically as possible. I guess can you explain more about your interactions and experience doing that work? Yeah, so the meetings with UCLA administration were done by the president of our organization. But what I did was more of the behind the scenes work. So I made like the baseline budgets of how the what these programs needed, and I was the one who like wrote all funding apps. So that language was used in the interviews with UCLA, just like those, understanding why these programs are necessary and where UCLA can help them.
One issue with advocating for groups to admin is they have some kind of approach where it's like, if you let one in, then you have to do it for all. So how will you pick and choose your battles and decide which groups you're going to be advocating for?
That's a hard question. I feel I would want to prioritize the mother organizations just because that's the community that I'm a part of, and that's the work that I see on a daily basis is how much these groups struggle, just in their retention at UCLA and how the administration and UCLA and the regions and everyone can help them and us. But yeah, it definitely is hard to pick and choose.
Okay, if you want, you can move into a 1 minute very informal closing, and then we'll move into a council discussion and a vote, hopefully.
I appreciate all of your questions. You definitely are very critical, and I appreciate that, and that's something that I would hope that you are in the future with me, just keep me accountable if I am appointed. But definitely, I am looking forward to working with each of your offices to push forward the goals that we both want. And thank you so much for your time.
I would just say this too, is that I'm really looking forward to working with you. The DoD is obviously the operating a shared governance system here at UCLA. Roy talks a lot about this, and I think that you are someone who I'm really excited to partake in shared governance with, and continue to work with you and be really productive. So with that, we're going to move into ARC's recommendation.
I know Sam, she has been, I've known her since her first year, so I let Joanna be the chair for ARC today to avoid conflict of interest.
visiting and then the school as well. So, we recommended, staying with the 8-0 vote, favor of her, I specifically, selected the, person that we could, experience with from community and how that has helped her gain the skills for something like board of directors, especially in terms of, how much experience she has with budgets and numbers, and now all of these details that honestly are a lot of work to do. Was that I felt like there was a lack of, I guess, not a lack, I just want to see more of a, like, passion in terms of making sure that she's committed for, you know, different communities as well and going to stand up for them.
This was my second opportunity actually to talk with Sienna about a funding related position, so I can say I'm like pretty confident and familiar with the work she's done financially, or it seems like with Songhan and stuff, and both times that she's talked about it, I've been impressed. So I am confident in her ability to enter the space. As Aiden and Kevin were saying, this doesn't seem to be a position where you can necessarily enter fully prepared. So I think I'm confident in Sienna because she's clearly willing to learn and willing to get there and willing to work. And for that, like, I'm just excited to see where you go. I also really like when you mentioned audience spaces because it just made me feel like you were in touch with like, the needs of students that are on campus and stuff. You're thinking about these things and ways to like, expand access to communities. On campus and your color and that's wonderful. So.
Yeah, I'm pushing on. You know, we managed to go around the same way, so I voted to approve you because I do believe that you have the capacity to grow in this position. And I just have some reservations because it does feel like you are lacking a little bit of passion at this moment for stuff, and I just encourage you to find like what you really want to do instead of like having like a lot of smaller ideas, like really focus on like one thing during your 2 years in this position.
With that, we can move into a discussion or a motion. Anybody would want to have a conversation about that? Jimmy? Yeah.
So like, what, about seeing over something for, a bunch of, is it about an application?
Sorry, can you speak up?
Sorry, yeah, so what about, sort of what her application, like, brought it to the forefront of your own oversight over this process?
Yeah, I think like I mentioned before, it really was about, the unique perspective that she had, and the fact that, we really haven't, appointed a lot of people, with her involvement and, you know, her understanding of what students need, in this position. So, I think specifically, you know, looking at her experience as a resident assistant, being exposed to various different types of diverse, group of students, and being, you know, used to kind of advocating for student needs, and even if it's just on the floor level, but also looking at her answers, I think, you know, personally, you know, I think her strong points mainly are, you know, her unique perspective, from her background and from what's already.
Other conversations? Questions? I personally really like your professionalism, and I saw that in your application too, because I think that like a lot lot of people when they apply were like, I was a part of this club and that club, and I did this, and I represent this community, but I think you really showed the work you did, and your competency within those spaces, especially like the finances and the budget. Like that was an example that I thought was really impressive. So I do that with the possibility because I think you like went beyond kind of listing I'm involved in X, Y, and Z, and so like here's why and what I did within these spaces that actually made a difference. I appreciate that about application.
And then to kind of bounce off of what Robert was saying, there's so much that goes into a culture show that so many people don't really understand, especially sometimes culture show. Like, and I think it's really to acknowledge that when good work is done, you should applaud the people that are behind that good work and trust that they will continue to support good work.
I think good. I just want to like note a little bit. I don't know if it's because I have had the opportunity to talk to you more than once, but I very much feel like I see passion in you. I don't feel like just because like you're soft spoken necessarily that doesn't mean that you're passionate. I think passion shows like through the work you do and the commitment you make. And I feel like you show that to add on to that, I think I've worked with Sienna for like the past 2 years, and I have seen her passion and the passion that the way that she takes in her passion is through her and specifically through her work in doing finance.
Yeah, Lily.
I can definitely see a lot of passion and professionalism, and I think there's a lot of room for growth and collaboration. One thing I do want to express my concern about is making sure that you're going outside of your own cause and incorporating other groups too. You should always champion your own cause, but in doing so, make sure you're expanding and reaching out to other groups who are facing similar issues.
Other conversations? If not, we can motion to approve or not, or to appoint or not appoint.
Oh, I guess my last thing, I would say, just to kind of bounce off of Lee and Joanna, is like just echoing that notion of looking for groups that also aren't being represented to the fullest, because usually it's the people, and I don't even want to use the word quiet, but it's the people that aren't at the table here that are overlooked, right? And there are reasons, there are mechanisms behind why those people are not at the table. So it's really important to like, again, do take into consideration all that stuff.
Thank you all for raising your concerns too, and voicing those questions. This is a really important position. All of our BOD appointees get stipended full tuition for in-state and also sit for 2 years on a multi-million-dollar board of directors. So this is important, and I appreciate you all bringing up these concerns. And this vote is serious. So please, if there's any last-minute questions or comments, do so. Otherwise, I think that we should move to a motion.
I thought you said last thing is that the application is strong, we want strong experience and background and skills and things like that. I think you look for the other abilities and what will be hearing from. I want to see more than professionalism. I think a lot of times when we work in bureaucracy, a lot of conversations are had and it's easy to get pushed down for your projects and your visions to be suffocated because so much else is going on and you're not feeling like that's not necessarily important. So I think that's why I want to, encourage you to really like hone in on what your needs are, your passions are, and the things you're not priorities in spaces. Because you can easily get lost in everything, and when it comes down to people looking to you to advocate for them and stand up for them, especially for people who are unable to disabled, it takes a lot of strength and commitment to consistently bring those experiences to the table. So I think that would be my only reservation, because I have seen bureaucratic spaces where plenty of experiences just get stifled and like never hear from them again. You have 2 years to really work on all these different things. So when it comes to what I want to see on is you have the skills. I just want to make sure that you consistently reflect on what more you could be doing in the future and things go on. Honestly, things just get shut down. So another priority, especially after
about it, decisions you are the student, so just making sure you take advantage of this for yourself and for other people. I think that was huge.
Anything else? Motions? No motions? Questions?
Ian Williams for ASU Slate Board Director.
Okay, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By a motion of 9-0, that's the that's appointed to ASU Board of Directors. You don't have to sit in the council with us. I would encourage you not to because it will be long. You can stay for the next DOD appointment, yeah. So, with that, you're going to go through the second DOD appointment, Alexis. Alexis, I recently met you. I've heard lots of good things about you. I'm going to let Naomi also speak about her relationship with you and Jimmy as well, because I know that they have more extensive relationship with you. So with that, Naomi, do you want to say anything about Alexis? I know that you kind of recommended her in some capacity to apply. If not, I'll pass on to you.
Yeah, so, what's funny is that I didn't really even know Alexis was fine. Like, it was a conversation just because I was lobbying to so many folks about the position and really trying to make sure that people knew about it. So when I saw her name, I thought it was really funny. But I've known Alexis for a very long time. We were best friends. So we went to the same middle school, same high school. Yeah, we've been friends ever since. It's really awesome to see her grow as a leader, and just the person that she has really become into. She founded the Black Student Union at our high school, which was predominantly Latino. It was a 91% Latinx population at our high school. And being from such a small, like just having, no one there that was Black, it was really important to have that representation. And she carries that same passion here within the ASU space, which we both occupy. She's done amazing work within the ASU Advocate Weekend, and she is just one of the people that's always there within the spaces. Everybody knows her. Everybody, can see the passion that she has for Black retention and access here on campus. So that's just me coming from a very biased perspective, but also acknowledging, again, good work when it's done.
Thank you for that. If Jenny could just speak a little bit more about Alexis and her.
Yes, of course. So like I mentioned before, Likes and Alexis really, coming ASU and from the low. Excuse me just a second. She does have, that unique perspective about her, but also I think something to point out is in her interview, she also mentioned that she wants to, advocate for other students who are not as well. She's actually specifically. And I think that's, also really important because ASU CLA board of directors shouldn't just be catered towards, specific group. They should be catered, for all students, because ASU CLA is associate students, not just, for, certain communities. And I think that was really important for her, to mention. And also, on top of that, she has done a lot of work in her own community as well. She was a marketing and publicity chair for Advocate Weekend, Black Ruins, and she also wants to help make spaces and campus resources more accessible to Black Ruins. So, seeing that strong work ethic in her own community was also another really big plus in recommending her for this.
Thank you, Jenny. If I don't know if Aiden and Kevin had a chance to talk to Alexis, but if you would want to say a little bit something about her as well.
Okay, neither of us had a chance to talk to Alexis, but it was like no one's fault. We had meetings set up and just other things happened. So like don't
I'm gonna say, I read the application, Robert shared it. So,
And Alexis, if you could just give, an introduction of yourself.
So hi everyone, my name is Alexis Wells. I'm a political science and African American studies double major. I'm a second year here. I'm very excited to serve as or hopefully be appointed for the board of directors. I've served in many spaces here on campus, including the call center and working with the call center and working at the district office. I really think that it's important to highlight, feedback from students and understand really the climate here on campus. So that's the reason why I try to allow myself to enter these spaces. And I like Jim said, I work with the marketing and publicity for Adam Weekend staff. So creating programs for students to understand what they're going to be coming into here at UCLA as first year, some of the spaces that they would like to occupy. I definitely want to, one thing that I really want to highlight is making space for all students here on campus, but majorly with, marginalized students here on campus. We definitely need to see their voices be heard, but that does not exclude every other student here on campus and making resources, which is another reason why I helped Naomi and running her campaign for academic affairs commissioner, because I definitely think it's so important to have these spaces here on campus to have a higher retention rate. We are the number one public institution, so we definitely need to make sure that every student here is highlighted so that their success is seeded out to the world and UCLA State and the most public institution.
So if any council members has any questions.
So prior to the application process and during, what did you do to make sure that you were actually educated as much as you could be on DOD and what they do? And are you continuing to make sure that happens?
So when I was applying, the application was pretty large. There were many different positions you could apply to, but I chose this specific position because I felt like I was working directly more with students and, just like the climate here at UCLA. And so I definitely did my research on the UCLA Board of Directors website, which I think is phenomenal because it has so much information that you can learn from. So I definitely looked over that and made sure that I knew what I was getting into, but also I really, really highlighted one thing where it said high quality and low cost. So we do want to make sure the tuition is already very high so that we're providing resources like free blue gloves and different things on campus to make sure that students, their funds that they put in is being utilized correctly for themselves. So that's something that I really highlight, but I definitely want to make sure that as an institution, I'm making sure that, every student understands the resources they have here at UCLA and also the resources that we need to implement so that they can have a higher success rate here.
What are some of your goals for the upcoming 2-year plan?
Some of my goals are the Black Room Research Center. I really want to work with the African Student Union president and make sure that we get these spaces allocated correctly. There's a lot of spaces on campus that I feel after a certain time, like we do not adequately utilize. So definitely utilizing the spaces, not having to fight through different organizations to make sure that the spaces are available. Because a lot of the times as working with marketing, we're trying to get these spaces, but it's already, booked. But it's like we have so many other spaces on campus we can utilize, so I definitely highlight that. I definitely want to make sure that we are also, making space for free blue books, if that's possible, and just working to make sure that students have the resources they need here on campus.
Question that isn't really widely known to the general student body, like they just kind of don't understand how basic it is sometimes, they don't really know that there are like student components. So how do you plan on keeping focusing on and making sure that you're still working for students that might not recognize
So I definitely want to be transparent in that, and letting students largest platforms that our generation uses. So hopefully we can try to implement something like that where we have maybe polls. Instagram is very huge nowadays, where we have polls and voting and stuff to make sure, that students understand that we are here, we hear them, and that we want their voices to be heard in spaces so that, they should have a thing to speak.
Oh, yeah, so, I asked a similar question, but given that it is a very strenuous position, how are you going to make sure that you dedicate time to it? What are your thinking about for next year?
So I currently work in the Central City Office Center, I also work at the call center, but the Central City Office is just just a filler space. I definitely love that job, but as of right now, if I'm appointed, so long, but definitely with the call center, I definitely love that job. The money, but also we work at we call students and we let them know about the different resources they have on campus, and I definitely and now the more there who's not mentioned. So we're also receiving feedback, so that's one job that I definitely don't want to give up because I'm constantly hearing feedback from students, so I definitely think that would work well with what I'm in right now. Also with the marketing and listening, I'm definitely going to continue to work with the student union and different spaces on campus. Once we have a contract, I definitely think we need to do a great job to make sure that they know that they can see here at UCLA. So just placing myself in these positions that will help me in the UCLA board of directors, but I do not believe it'll make me as allocated time and the space that I have in order to be part of the UCLA board of directors.
Yeah, I will note that Alexis and her interview with Jimmy and today noted to me that she was willing to fly across the world to come to her POD meeting in July if necessary, since you'll be studying abroad in July. So I think that speaks to your commitment. Was surprisingly impressed by that, because I don't know if I would do that. I definitely would not do that for council. Full transparency. Okay, other questions? Oh, yeah, so Joanna and Isabel and Lily.
One of the aspects of being on the board is that you would have some communication with these students at the university. You said that you want to ensure that you have that connection. So do you have any strategies, on how you want to do that connection?
So I do have a couple of friends who work primarily in the regions, so that also be cool. I definitely want to reach out to them and see some of the things that they're working on, some of the things they would like to see here at UCLA. But definitely, just reaching out, being very transparent in what we're doing here at UCLA, and making sure that we are voicing our opinions and also we are allowing them to voice their opinions and what should be done. Yes.
Part of the role of sitting on the board of directors is ensuring the financial viability of ACCLA, but it's also really important to recognize that, we students already pay a lot of money to the university and to ACCLA for various services. So how do you plan on reconciling those two pulls on you as a student representative?
Right. So as a low-income student, I definitely understand that we pay a lot of money to go to UCLA. I definitely believe in utilizing a lot of free spaces, full free spaces for education. To just make sure that students have the resources they need. So I'm one who, if there's free food lists out of basketball games, I'll definitely let my friends know, hey, free food lists can't have, they don't test tomorrow stuff. So I definitely think just allowing students to know about the many spaces that they have here on campus, but not only that doesn't mean that we have adequate amount of spaces here on campus, but also making sure that we continue to build spaces here on campus so that students know the resources that they have to make sure that they have the utilities they need.
This question was kind of touched on a little bit, and I asked Sierra as well, but what is your comfort level with speaking to admin, and how are some ways you can best advocate for students, especially in terms of facilities and space? You mentioned after hours utilization of space. So what are some ways you can convince admin to achieve those goals?
One thing, working at the call center, this is just a fun fact. We are tied with Berkeley to be number one public institution, and last year we did beat them. But I definitely think that since we are tied neck and neck with the number one public institution, now we have to realize the resources that we have and the resources that they have that make us compete and where we compare. So I definitely think with a 74% retention rate here at UCLA for Black Bruins, and the next is 83% for the Alaskan natives, and then our school has a 93 to 96% retention rate. That is a 19 to 23% gap. So I definitely want to make sure that we understand that we are looking at the statistics and then also looking at the different spaces that we can allocate so that we can have a higher retention rate in all marginalized communities or all communities in general here at UCLA. But just also working with admins to let them know that, we are here and that we know our statistics, that we know the spaces that need to be brought here, and definitely working with admins to make sure that we allocate the spaces here like that.
Joanna kind of touched on it on the last question, but I feel like it's also worth bringing up. How are you going to ensure that you stay centered on your vision? You don't get lost in things like bureaucratic processes and just also like what comes with having such a long term?
I definitely think that I'm gonna take it upon myself to make sure that we create these spaces and a lot of the things that we want to advocate for. I definitely want to make sure that we have those noted and that over time we're continuously applying pressure to the things that we want to see here on campus. So just not being lost or getting lost in the many things that do come with the position. That does not mean that, it's not going to be overwhelming at some point, but I definitely understand that we need these spaces here on campus. So I think that we're going to continue to apply pressure to make sure that we have these spaces.
Do you want to do a 1-minute closing and then do a discussion?
So like I said, my name is Alexis Wells, and I'm very happy to possibly serve as the UCLA Board of Directors. I definitely think with my experience, like you said, there's nothing that's really going to really set you up for really what is to come, but I definitely I'm very dedicated and I'm willing to work and to learn about the position that I'm going into and definitely advocate for students and for the overall wellness of all students here on campus.
With that, so ARC, from my understanding, given your situation that came up this past week, was unable to make a recommendation, which is okay. So ARC has the ability to make recommendations of approval, recommendations of disapproval, and then just no recommendation. Is that correct? Right. Okay. So with that, we would move directly into a dialogue among council members and then a motion. So, yes.
So we did it next to speed, Alexis, but also add facing application.
That's right.
A little bit in the grade, just facing application.
I can give you my personal recommendation. Because I'm familiar with Alexis doing ASU spaces. But like I can attest like the work she does and get it done, like attitude, I've seen that with her work on Advocate Weekend. Like I'm really proud of you. I'm happy to see you here. Like I've seen your passion for retention, like your outreach, your passion for representation, and just like I know you to be a person who addresses the problems you see, and I have no reason to believe that you will not do that. I think also just the way you carry yourself makes me really confident that this is a space, or this is not a space that you will enter and forget who you are or what you can do.
So, you all want to say anything, or it's okay if you don't?
I mean, not based off of the ARC, but just like speaking right now, more like were incredibly, not prepared for something I don't think prepared, but I'm really excited to see what we do in the next 2 years. Because I really would encourage you to speak and things like have to be able to answer your questions. So you have a vision for what you want to and who you want to serve and how you want to do these things. And you just have so much knowledge about the way UCLA works, the way UCLA works, that I think you really do have the ability to get what you want to get done.
I agree with Isabel entirely. I feel like everything that's is what everyone brought up initially. And so I think it's really well. Just looking over our application, you can tell that you were really motivated for this. And that at the end of the day, that's something I want to see in a lot of people that I work with, is someone who, there's a thing called burnout, there's also a thing called passion, and that having that innate motivation, which I feel like really shine through in your application alone, just a little bit in the ways that you presented yourself and the work that you have done, and you've done that again today, in terms of really describing your commitment, what your goals are, and how you want to see students really be uplifted here at UCLA. Those are all really key aspects that I would want to see in someone who is representing you in such a powerful position. And I think when the students knew you, they would also be very proud to have.
I think your track record speaks volumes to your character. Just like the fact that you founded your own Black Student Union at your high school, you made space where space didn't exist. And that's an incredible thing. And I'm really looking forward to working with you, and I fully support you. And I have no doubt that you're going to be amazing at this.
Any final comments, or does someone want to motion?
There's already a comment.
Love the validation.
I feel like it is definitely worth like validating and also giving my 2 cents. And why I'm just so happy that this is happening, just because you've always been like we've just always been alongside each other. Like you helped me so much during my campaign, and just seeing that we take so much of our own visions and like really try to push that forward. And our visions are always in alignment. We're always advocating for first, and I'm really so excited to see you in this.
Motions.
I motion to approve Alexis Wells. Appoint Alexis Wells for ASUCA Board of Directors.
All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By motion of 9-0-0, Alexis Wells appointed. Please feel free if you want to say you can. By all means, whichever you all want to do. We're going to be moving on to my last appointment for the night, Jackie. I will say a few things about Jackie. I have gotten to know you. You walked all the way up to Hedrick Study to meet me up in my singledom. So I appreciated that in the first place. You really showed an initiative to talk to me, to learn more about what I wanted to see, and then also what your goals were. I would just like to keep this really short. Like your experience, there was nobody is as experienced as you. You've done the work on the ground, you've done the work in the leadership positions, you've literally worked on this committee. You come from a space that is directly served by this committee. There was nobody better for this position. And that's simply like all I have to say about this. Anybody who reviews your application, with your work within MedChef, and your work within access and retention projects, can see that. So thank you for applying in the first place. And then beyond that, thank you for having multiple dialogues with me personally now that really showed me like how passionate you are about this. I will say the last thing that I really was impressed with was I do think that you have a genuine commitment to continue to work with council and to work with this committee and make sure that we're in constant communication. So thank you. With that, we're going to be doing 1 minute opening, 5 question answer, and then move on to the air recommendation. Good, okay, awesome. So take it away.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacqueline. I'm a Jacqueline. I'm a fourth year and I'm going to be an intermediate here at UCLA. My major is African American Studies, and I also have a minor in education. I'm originally from East Hall, also during my family moved to and my family moved to Richmond, where we live now. So a little bit about me. Since my first year, I started off my access work here at UCLA through Chinashi as a volunteer. Chinashi is an access project underneath another organization of MESHA, where we service youth in different parts of LA, including Santa Monica High School, Mendes High School, Woodward High School currently. In addition to that, I also did, I don't know how many people of color tours my second year, and through these people of color tours, I was able to engage with youth from elementary, middle school, and high school students all over the LA area, as I was giving them political people of color tour of UCLA and telling them that this institution belongs to them, that they live in the Los Angeles area and it is a public institution. As my years ago, next time my third year, I was next at UCLA chairwoman, and in this position, it was challenging because as chair you get pulled all different types of directions. However, my favorite parts being chair was as revitalizing a project of Sonyo. Sonyo is an active project that focuses on continuation school students and the most high potential students, and how we define high potential is students who have the potential to become community organizers, to be at the forefront of our struggles and really, go beyond the institution. And so through Yolo Sonyo, I have been able to engage with students from Chavez Continuation School in Compton, as well as students from Maya Angelou Community High School in South Central. In addition to that, this year, I have fully committed my time to Chinashi as a site coordinator for Mendes and Boyle Heights, as well as a restorative justice coordinator. Where my full commitment is to find alternative ways to address violence in these schools, as well as in the students' lives, as well as build a political education to supplement, healing, to make sure that they are working on their political consciousness and, just learning more about themselves and their community and valuing their community organizing. And I think I really do understand the history of the SLC, the history of the high potential programs that came before SLC, and I think I'm also really committed to continuing to learn community conditions that I may not be aware of, as well as the community that I will be working with.
Thank you. Questions? Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit more about what are your priorities for SLC next year?
Yeah, so I didn't mention this, but I sat on the SLC committee when I was mentor chair as well, because the person who was part of that space had to remove themselves from the space, so I came in. So I have seen the SLC committee space, and I think my priorities will really be to have a collaborative space, as it is a SLC committee versus just one person or two people making the decisions in the committee, which I think has been something that has unfortunately happened over the years. So I think for sure my priority is to make sure that it is a collaborative space, and I'm confident in being able to do that, as the collaborative space is what we aim to do in all of the spaces that I'm a part of. And I think another very important thing is to really learn about community conditions, learn about what is the need and also what's going on in the different communities that different projects are serving. And I say that because as when we learn what the different community conditions are, we learn how to better train the staff that are working with the youth, which I think is a big something that we can really improve on to ensure that this training is sufficient and will support the youth that we're working with at the best of our capacities.
What do you think about the chair's discretionary fund, and how should that be transparent with the rest of the SIFC?
I think the chair discretionary fund is something that a lot of people aren't aware of, even within the committee at times. So I think it's has to do a lot with like transparency and communication on where this discretionary fund is going to, what it could be potentially used for, which I think also a gap is like learning about how to really handle like the funding that we're allocated. I think the staff that sit in this committee should have more training on like how to use these funds, how to like look at like budgets, to make sure that we're doing the best at allocating money for the different projects and also seeing growth and how we can allocate money for growth. But I think the discretionary fund, although it's like under the chair, should be something that the committee is aware of and that there is communication when things are being passed off and also like when the checks are being like, signed for specific funding underneath the discretionary fund.
In our AIC interview, like, Kim had asked about how we plan to ensure that SIOC stays like student initiated and not, I guess, like, overtaken by like full-time staff and directors. Can you answer that? Because I really like the answer.
Yeah, from my understanding, this was a committee that was fought for students to exist. So I think that it's already student funded, but I think we can work on the student initiated, student grant piece, and I think that's where I am very like adamant about the funding part and us being financially like literate about how to go about this funding that we're allocating, because it can be student grant if you don't understand like where the funding's going, how to manage the funding, which I think is a huge gap. So I think that do provide like pushing for that training or pushing for more time to discuss the funding and to really learn like, the nitty and gritty like bits of the funding would allow for us to then make more decisions based on our own agency versus things that are being proposed by, for example, the CPO administration, who they always like recommend like what should be passed, but I feel like a lot of those times because people don't fully understand the funding, they just go by that versus like, like being like, oh, like I have this idea for the funding, or I think there's a gap in this, or maybe we shouldn't allocate too much.
Other questions?
Yeah, I got to sit in Jackie's interview, and I thought she was just a good candidate, period, but I wanted to ask, because I also like the response that you gave to us within the interview, how are you going to ensure that, given that you are coming from the metro space, but that you're serving the entire community, how are you going to adequately serve the entire community, or the entire space, given that you're friends?
Yeah, so previously, to like now, I am part of another organization, but before that, as chair, I was like one of the point people, like making sure that I wasn't only advocating for like NEXA and like Metro Diesel, so I was also supporting like other, mother organizations and whatever it is that they needed, and listening to them, hearing them out, and making sure that I take the time to like be open-minded to what they're saying, because I am, and I think that is one of the biggest like things on my mind is that I am part of, like I come from like a heavily involved space, so making sure that I am being open-minded about working with people, listening to them. And another thing that I think is really important in the SLC space is the vice chair who navigates conversations amongst all of the different projects that are part of the SLC. And they're responsible to ensure that there's communication separate from one CPO administration. So making sure that like I advocate for that space to happen, where all of the different appointments from the different other organizations have a space where they talk, where they talk about the concerns, bring up ideas, or maybe they aren't comfortable bringing it up to the entire committee, but they are comfortable with their specific mother or like coalition.
Yeah.
You're obviously very impressive applicant, and just like hearing your open statement and answering questions, I'm really impressed with the host of experiences that you've had, and I think the also vision that you have going forward if you are to be appointed to this committee. So I was wondering, within all those experiences, like what is something that you think was maybe one of the hardest challenges for you to overcome as a leader, and how are you going to incorporate that into, like you said, one, making SISC more of a collaborative space between students who are members of it, and then secondly, making SISC more aware of funding autonomy and independent action and just knowledge about those things that might not have been as clear in the past. Again, like investing in the fund.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I know I will have to work on is making sure that I build strong relationships with like the CPO administration so that they so that we have like constant communication and making sure that I am like consistent about that to make sure that they like to make space for me to like have conversations with them or like whoever is the chair of the committee and like the vice chair, making sure that like they're able to speak to them whenever they like think that it's important for them to speak to them because I think that communication between the chair, vice chair, and the CPO administration is very fundamental to like the SLC being student-led, student-initiated, student-run. So I think the only reason why I guess I said that that would be something that I need to work on is just because in the past that has been something that hasn't been so easy to do. So I think being like, how you said, like a student advocate, to making sure that that's happening, to making sure like, they do provide space for us to like meet with them whenever we think that we should be meeting with them.
There's nothing else. Can you just go 1 minute and formal closing?
Yeah, I just want to thank y'all for being here. I don't know what time it is, but it's really late. And I just, the work that we do under SLC is, I think a lot of people don't understand it. Like, it takes a lot of labor, a lot of love, to on a weekly basis work with youth. Sometimes like an hour and a half away from here because of traffic. So it really does take commitment, and I think the SLC committee is something that we should prioritize and ensure that this work is sustainable for the youth who are in need and are constantly being displaced, constantly being, like structurally facing violence through like the LA area. So I think this is really important work that we should all be aware of. And thank y'all for hearing and listening to me.
The dialogue among council members. Oh, sorry, yes. Yeah. Or John.
I think it's a lot of fun. So Aaron also voted to be in favor of your just like there you go. I really like all of your experience and the way that you presented. There's not really words to describe the interview that we went through. I think a lot of both Isabel and you and I were both blown away, kind of speechless to just how capable and qualified you were for this position. I think it goes without saying that the committee will really benefit from your presence in this space because of just how much leadership and experience you have. So
I'm not entirely sure where to start because, like, as Rena was saying, you definitely blew us away. You kept answering the questions I didn't have a chance to ask. Like, it's very clear that you know what you came to do. Like, I'm just really excited. I guess I feel like this space will really benefit from your presence because I can't think of what anybody else can even do to be as qualified as you are. Clearly student initiated outreach is your thing. So I think I was very excited for what you're going to do. Like, I full support.
I wasn't a voting member for your committee meeting, but yeah, there's nothing that I can say that hasn't already been said. Like, you're incredible, you know what you're doing, you know what you're here to do, and I'm really excited to see it working.
Any final comments or is there a motion?
motion to approve.
Point.
Appoint Jacqueline Avendaño for student initiated outreach.
second motion.
All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By motion 900. Thank you all for coming out to support too. Appreciate that. Okay, let's move on to 3 and takeaway. Oh, am I missing Stephanie? Sorry, Stephanie first.
Okay, so, I had an appointment to the campus planning committee, and, I chose Stephanie Martinez as my appointment because of the knowledge that she brings to the table, and I really do think that the committee is going to benefit from her knowledge. She's shown so much dedication and passion to the work that Metro does, within their retention projects, and she also shows that she's dedicated to serving the other projects that are within the space too. She's very critical about the way things are going now, and she has a vision for, what she wants to see in the future. I took lots of notes, but those are not really, that necessary. What's really dope about her though is her advocacy for transparency, something that hasn't always been present. And again, she was the most qualified candidate that I interviewed, and I'm really excited to see.
Josh, you go ahead and do an introduction.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Martinez, and I'm a third year Chicanx double major with Spanish education minor, and I'm currently working under the retention project at Chacaneta. I am the demonstration coordinator this year, so within my work with the retention center, starting off my first year coming in and getting peer counseling from our current project coordinator, Alejandra Lozano. But fall quarter, I was involved in the internship space, which is where I found a lot of the knowledge behind how and why these retention projects started and why they are student initiated is because the university is in certain student needs. And the students provide needs for our communities, which is like something I'm a huge advocate for, being in these peer counseling sessions. And so then my second year winter quarter was when I was offered a position to be a peer counselor, and I was in the internship space as well, where I learned more knowledge regarding the space and why Gameta even started, how it started out as a class. And then moving on to my third year now, I am the mentorship or the mentorship coordinator, and it's providing that space for students on campus, for Latinx students, given that coming to this institution, we feel out of place. We don't find that sense of community, so we're trying to provide that sense of community, comunidad, familia, for students. And I think for me, getting the appointment for the CRC space, I'm not coming back to the project next year, but I think a way I can help is through the funding aspect, seeing that the project needs a lot of support when it comes to funding, and it's so limited and it's so hard as a coordinator right now, having to confront a lot of money at times, because we don't have the allocated amount of resources that we need as projects to do the work that we're doing and that's required of us for our community.
No other question and answer. Council members? Oh, yeah, sorry.
So can you talk a little bit about, I know that you mentioned that you already have experience with, can you talk a little about what you want to bring to the table as like an improvement, or something you want to prioritize in your if you were doing it?
I think I have several things. One of them for sure is bringing awareness of the space, specifically in the SRC section, because we have WSP, we have MSP, we have liaison hours, and a lot of students don't know about them, they don't even know about the projects and what the projects offer. And I think it's so in academic probation, subject to dismissal, or are dismissed, and they don't know about these resources because we're not well advertised, and even though we try our best to advertise ourselves through like the GMS classes, through PLS, through sending out flyers, it's still not enough. And so that's one of the ways that I would want to, like, what I would want to do for next year is like, how can I bring awareness in the SOC space? Another thing is meeting and like retaining students in terms of like bringing back students that are dismissed. I think that's like a population in which counselors struggle a lot with, and I know we have partnership with BRP, so the Group Readmission Program, but still a lot of students don't even know about BRP, and it's so hard and it's so limiting for us as counselors to even contact students that are dismissed because we cannot like email them. There's certain restrictions because of FERPA, and so that how can we reach these communities as well? How can we bring back those students that were dismissed and were pushed out by this institution? And like show them the resources that we have and what are options for them as well. Because from the conversations I've had with the dismissed students that I've met with throughout these 2 years, a lot of them don't know about the BRP space. They don't know that they could appeal, that there's several processes as well, or even that if they got dismissed because they ended up failing their class, like the options that there were in terms of dropping the class, or even not taking the final and then just dropping the class later, retracting the actual dismissal process.
Yeah, so just a follow-up, so, those are really clear like, goals that you have. Do you have any methods that you have to improve publicity in that? Because I know you mentioned sort of common methods of student outreach, and I think you're all really familiar with. So do you have any new ideas or maybe studies that you've seen that have worked in other spaces?
I know it's really hard when it comes to outreaching. One thing that our project has been doing is in the flyers using like a QR code, especially when it comes to signing up for sessions with counselors. I think that's much easier than if, let's say, a student doesn't know where the actual space is, or they might not feel as comfortable going in. Another way that I've been thinking about it is a lot through like word of mouth, but also going to different spaces where you have these communities present. So not only like the Chicanx classes, but also to the American Indians classes, like the introductory classes, AFAM as well, Asian American, and then flyering, of course, going through the different living learning communities as well. I think that's where you can get a lot of cool students that might not know about these resources, but go to their floor meetings that they have as well. FTSP, we've used that as well because that's where we have a lot of communities, a lot of POC students go. And it's just finding different ways of being creative. I think that's like the key thing when it comes to outreaching is how can you be creative to outreach to students? Because oftentimes like just putting it on Facebook or social media can be very limiting because people don't see it.
Okay, do you mind giving us a 1 minute closing?
So my name is Stephanie, not 3 minutes. You don't know. But I'm really passionate about this work. My heart is in the projects. This is where I come. I'm a product of them. I'm a huge advocate for student retention. It's so heartbreaking to see that the university isn't doing this work and it comes to students. And so I want to be a huge advocate for the projects in terms of funding and providing for them.
Okay, council discussion or motion?
I motion to approve sorry, I motion to appoint Stephanie Martinez to.
I second.
All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By motion of 900, Stephanie Martinez is appointed to campus. Next
And to Jackie, I don't want to say like first or second, because I think they're both equally qualified candidates for this appointment. So me and Robert were kind of like, we can choose whoever, and because we knew that they were both the ones for the job. The awesome part about Brianna is that, well, I've known her now for a year and a half. When we first met in the Metro space, and she was actually, I don't know if she even remembers, but she was one of the first into the space. So she always had this spirit of welcoming people and, you know, reaching out. This committee at its core is all about. So she was our appointment last year, and she's going to be our appointment again because of the fact that she has the institutional knowledge to be within the space. She knows how to navigate the space, and she knows how important it is for it to return to being a student-initiated and ran space. She highlights all the time that it's student-funded, but that the other two aspects are kind of lacking, and she's committed to doing that work. She's very critical of the space, and she also understands the work that it does too, but where it can go from here. So I love Deanna, and I'm so excited to see what she is.
Brief, 1 minute open.
Hey, y'all, my name is Brianna. I also go as Bree. I'm a dual major in dentistry. So I first got into access work was doing POC tours through Code 4. Mentor Code 4, and after that I got into the international internship, which is Mentor UCLA's Access Project, which gives you like the first-hand experience of going to the site, and also like building curriculum, facilitating workshops. And after the following year, I was a full-time staff member for Mentor International, in which I was able to go to both Wilson High School and High School as a site coordinator, in which I built relationships with nonprofit organizations and patient learning and justice, which is also known as AAJ, and for Young Platform in Boyle Heights. And then after that, this year I'm now mentioned the UCLA's access coordinator, in which I get able to sit on the student initiative outreach committee, also known as SLC, for a full year. Also, I guess supervise 9 part-time student staff as well as 1 full-time staff member. And I think something really highlighted that I was able to have a 100% staff.
Question and answer. There cannot be questions if that's what we. Sure.
I guess since you sat on this committee before, what would you say is your proudest accomplishment and why?
On the funding thing, right? I think the funding thing was my advocacy in the beginning. Really trying to get to know, really trying to look at the bureaucracy of it being student initiated, student led, and trying to learn more about the funding, as it was my first year on the committee, so I was really trying to learn about the funding. I was really trying to push against the administration, as well as like the SLC chair and vice chair, in terms of like where that money was going and how it was being used. The example I could give you is I was advocating for there to be allocation for food, as the previous year there was an allocation that was on Jura to have food, as there is food insecurity and formulation department. So they, I was really pushing for that to be a line item. So I think that has been my biggest accomplishment, in which I was making sure to advocate that there was school security. And unfortunately I did during that hearing, during the allocation, I wasn't able to get it in. But with continuous work, the SLC chair brought it in as a memo, in which they implemented food security.
Again, since like you've been working for a while now, what would you say is something that was done really well this year that you want to continue? And then what's something that you want to improve on that you felt was lacking, and how would you improve upon it?
I think something that was good was that there was like the the committee will stay intact. So there other committee members that were there from the beginning of the year stay to the end of the year, or are currently still here. We still have to go through a few end of the year eval, but so far it's been 100% retention. So I hope to continue that in terms of I think something that did lack was in terms of transparency, in terms of where the funding was going, how it was being used, because I know there is a discretionary fund, so there was being memos passed without the funding, without SLC chair letting the committee know of that funding, so I think that's definitely room for improvement, as well as I think something else that I was speaking of now is a big push for LAUSD MOU, memorandum of understanding, right, because we're very limited in what high school we go to due to liability, and which UCLA doesn't want to partake in, so the liability automatically goes to nonprofit organizations that we have to go through to even get to the high school in the first place. So I think something that I really want to work towards next year is really having an SLC LAUSD MOU in which any of the sites can go to any school. And currently, I've been in the conversation with with our project coordinator this year to try to get LAUSD just for the project, but I think pushing that initiative further so that the other projects also have access to the other schools.
Okay, I'm going to give it 1 minute closing.
Well, thank y'all for being here. I know it's really late. I appreciate y'all asking questions, and I look forward to working with y'all the community.
Discussion or a motion? Please say a point. Whoever wants it.
Motion
Awesome. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Who joined us? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I didn't count. Violation 900 agrees with community. Oh, okay. So we can still do the vice chair without Nadia here, because the vice chair, or the potential vice chair is here. Thank you all again for coming out and supporting tonight, and also being here for all the questions. So, let me just see. This is a consent item vote. Do you just want to talk about your experience as an icon chair, tell us about yourself, and then if there's no problem, I feel like we should trust Nadia's judgment on this.
Okay. So I'm Dave Manassi. I'm a second year psychobiology econ double major. I have a passion for finance and finance. It's not necessarily the type of finance that people necessarily go into with banks and whatnot, but I think the finance committee is a significant part of USAC in terms of what we do for organizations that come to us for funding, we approve, and over the last few years that I have been on the finance committee, I have taken a part in reviewing applications and holding office hours for students that may have questions, for students that may need help with improving applications so that they can get the maximum amount of funding that they need. And in doing so, I have just come to learn the ways of financing under Ryan and under Nadia. And I look forward to the opportunity to not just further my role in the finance committee, but to further my role in USAC and just to the student body at UCLA.
what is it about the finance that you enjoy?
So in high school, I was on, at our high school, they had this Academy of Finance. And what we did was we learned about finance, and then we also just kind of looked over the students and kind of taught other students about finance throughout the school. It was a financial literacy program. So when I found out about the finance committee, I thought it would be kind of the same thing. And it was also part of student government, which I wanted to be a part of. So I joined, and then it was, I think it was better than what I had expected it to be, mostly because I found out that we were, financially impacting student organizations. Of course, money is a big part of, the things that we do. And, without funding, students can't get they can't get the events that they want. They can't, have just the spaces and everything that they need for services that they provide for everyone else. And so I think being a part of the financing year over the past 2 years, I've just come to just enjoy knowing that I'm part of the process.
In the FICOM office, seems chill. After my joke earlier, I called him Ryan on accident.
Also, okay, just comes tell me that this should be an action item because you're seconded, from my understanding. That's not an issue, we just have to do a vote to change it. Somebody would change the next one. Awesome. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Please count 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. My motion 9 0 0 was changed to action item. Okay. Can you mind changing that? Okay. Anybody else? I mean, I personally feel like comfortable with this. Usually, this is a non-issue. I trust the judgment of the FICOM chair that this is who she wants to work with and represent at the table here. So.
Motion. David, Ms. Stan. I'm so sorry. For finance committee vice chair. Second.
Awesome. All in favor? 1, 2. Did we lose a quorum? We do need quorum. Did we have a quorum? Yeah. Oh, did we change it? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, 8. I was at 8 0 0. I did not count. Sorry, I was at 8 0 0. David is the FICOM committee vice chair, FICOM vice chair. Thanks, David. Okay, collection. You've been appointed.
Yeah. She's not gonna be here, right?
No. You would say like, oh, they are, how great they are, why we should appoint them.
Okay. Sure got that one. Not, it's just, I interviewed 5 people for our fund chair, and she was the candidate I felt like most confidently about. She's been a part of, somehow, that's like the space that she's been part of. Or like, it's a different thing. But the point is, I was just like, I felt really strongly about her passion and just like her willingness to learn, like interviewing her. I interviewed her with my outgoing art venture, and like what came to mind was what Dr. Geller had said about it's not necessarily about the most qualified person, even though she was very well qualified, but it was about who was like passionate and like willing to learn and to use things. And so far, I informed her that she's like my pick last week, and she just been like, she has like a lot of initiatives. She has so many ideas for outreach and kind of like trying to make art fund even more accessible. And she's just like also very flexible and is dedicated time-wise, which is really important to me because I feel like funding can be like really hard and bureaucratic. So it was very important to me to pick an art fund chair who was going to like work with people through this process. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. She's just really cool. She's also really sweet.
Is there, no, there doesn't need to be a motion. So is there any opposition to collections appointment? No. Okay, then the motion passes and is appointed to Arts Historian Chair, Arts Historian Community Fund Chair. Dr. Geller for PDPs to appointments, the USAC, the stipend for our office. Do those need to be action items?
Anything that's stipend, it needs to be an action item. This is, yes, anything that's stipend, it needs to be an action.
Wait, do we have to go back and do an action item?
Because there's stipends for the work within their offices.
If it's a staff member in your office, it doesn't.
Okay, so yours are provisional, because yours will be.
So as a staff member in any of your individual offices, you have the ability to use your budget appropriately to pay stipend. If it's a position that comes with a stipend, it's not a staff position in one of your offices, it needs to come to council. Right? In many of these cases, these aren't actual committee positions. These are courtesies you're giving council to let them know who you're putting in positions working inside your office.
Why didn't it do it with friends? So,
Yeah.
okay, so basically as VP, I represented CLA at UCSA, which is the University of California Student Association. It's a leads advocacy statewide for all UCs, and UCLA has a key leader in spaces. We get 3 people to go to monthly board meetings at different UCSA spaces, and these are all made up of all the different VPs at each campus. I was just giving, my reasoning for why I chose these people. First of all, we'll start with Eduardo. Eduardo Perez is a close friend, and when he decided to apply for organizing director, I was really excited because it made a lot of sense to me. Working with him has been an honor and privilege because he has learned to value community and understand its importance. He has come through for the documented community health science and shows strong allyship for other communities in a way that I believe will help keep other organizing directors accountable as well. The organizing director is supposed to operate to as many organizations as possible here at UCLA and act as a liaison to UCSA to really understand each community's concerns and literally share them at the table to help shape and decide not only our legislative priorities for UCSA when we go lobbying as a whole organization or advocating for respective campuses and different districts, but also it shapes all of the EVP's priorities as well. Just for me as a person, I don't have the capacity to go meet with every single organization. So this individual, along with other staff members in my office, helped me achieve this goal, but they're the main liaison for UCSA at least. These people need to stick by their morals and commit to their communities because UCSA has a lot of people that honestly don't. So I believe we still have a lot to learn as well, but can also teach a lot of people in the next year about conviction, leadership, and outreach within this position.
Eduardo, do you have anything to say, or?
I can make it super quick. Again, my name is Eduardo. I have served as the affordability director within the Office of the External Vice President and the Financial Supports Commission, where I worked very closely with the Fund the UC campaign at UCSA. And within UCSA, I also aided in planning the first ever Undocu student conference that happened a few weeks ago. I have experience doing work related to every single campaign that UCSA has prioritized, from racial justice work to basic needs to Fund the UC to voter registration. I have done all of it. Again, I have gotten experience through the EVP office, through FSC, through being a proxy for different people at UCSA board meetings. I definitely think that I'm big on accountability. I'm big on immigrant rights, and I know that one of my biggest priorities is to help advocate for the UC Undocumented Student Coalition that is supposed to have representatives from UCSA. So I have experience doing like community organizing work, but also experience doing legislative, policy-based, more bureaucratic style work. I'm really here to fuck shit up, but I can also sit at the table and have those conversations. And thank you all for listening.
Any questions for everyone? Okay, then is there any opposition to Eduardo for campus organizing director? Awesome. Then Eduardo Perez is appointed to campus organizing director. Congrats.
year. I chose two, but one for the primary one, and the one that went to UCSA with me because I see the potential she has. This position was really competitive in my academic staff application, and a lot of clients were really qualified. But like I mentioned already, I'm really tired of bureaucracy and people pleasing. I feel like they will not tolerate that, which I'm wanting from someone in such a powerful position. These LPs sit on the government relations committee, and they work together to help decide all legislative parties for UCSA, and basically also for my office. So I want someone that, which I wanted from someone in that position. So, many people, including myself, have been pushed around in these spaces, and I feel like Kayla was not, even though she was not as maybe as experienced as other candidates, she did have the skills and the qualifications, and she still showed much more passion and commitment, not only herself, but her community. I want to see her growth in this position because they can offer a lot of leadership and career experience when people don't bring their bullshit to the table. I've also seen too many of the same kind of people, and Kayla is that grounded, but like breath of fresh air that I really think the space needs. I am surrounded with other really experienced people who encourage the growth and really help guide her through this process. But I also believe she has innate leadership qualities that new office members may benefit from, and people from the space will.
Yeah, it's really quick. Okay, I'm Kayla. I'm a second year public affairs major. Hopefully, comes up tomorrow. I did do a lot of like grassroots campaigning before I joined the EVP office. Like I did it in high school, like my state senator, and through the EVP office, I did it like that too. Like I was on like Bruin Walk, asking people to like sign petitions, to, like stop the tuition hike, which I don't know why people don't want to sign petitions. It's really easy, but whatever. But really what got me to apply for the position was when I went to Sacramento for our lobby conferences. And I met with like the state officials there, and that was really great. But during the conference, there was a Black caucus where I got to meet a lot of the Black people in the space. First, there was way too little, and that was like, I mean, it's very common for not a lot of Black people to be in these spaces. But like also what they were talking about was UCSA was very resistant to like the Black legislation that we wanted, like the gun control legislation that applies a lot to like Black people who are getting gunned down in California and in like the US. And like the fact that like UCSA was very resistant, that they really had to push to get like one legislative priority, really like it sparked something in me, and I really want to be like in this board and like be like a champion for these rights and for the rights of minorities as a whole. So.
Any other questions? Okay, is there any opposition to Kayla? Okay, and Kayla Dow, for legislative director, is appointed. Thank you both for coming. 1, 2, 9. Okay, you can do office report until I comes back. 1 second while I pull mine up. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I have a few things tonight for my officer report that I'll try to keep quick, but that are important. So the first one is a lot of them are with like my platforms and like what I'm trying to do this year. So the first one, like with my school supplies initiative, which obviously with my DoD appointment is something I discussed with them, specifically Blue Books and Scantrons, which to me comes across as a perception issue of a lot of students feeling resentment towards administration and elsewhere about where their money is going, even if that might not necessarily be a true perception, just about like conference centers and like sports complexes and whatnot, and how like we can improve the perception of how the university is spending its money. And one of these ways was through this initiative. I do want to say that like after my talks with administration, I had a meeting with the chancellor that I'll also update on in a second yesterday. Within that meeting and then within previous meetings with administration, I do have a commitment for the upcoming year that whatever funding USAC commits to my initiative for Blue and Scantrons, administration will match in funding. So up to $15,000. If USAC gives this $15,000 for this year, administration will match with $15,000, and then we'll be able to cover those school supplies for the entirety of the student body for the remainder of the year, based on my talks with ASCCLA folks. So I'm hoping we do that. I'm meeting with Roy tomorrow to see if there's a way to make the budget work for this. If not, I hope that I will come to surplus of this ask early on in the year. I know that there are other offices, especially for Bruin Bash, which is a priority for surplus as well, that I hope we can all contribute to, and definitely have some mutual reciprocal relationship with. That's it for that. Moving through USAC appointments has been great. Thank you all for making this incredibly easy, and I don't mean easy in the sense of just appointing them. I mean easy in the sense of ARC has really been on top of it, and I appreciate you all for being on top of it and reviewing applications even when you can't meet with them. And also council for asking really good questions and holding me accountable and make sure I'm appointing people that will serve well on these upcoming boards. And I hope that you will continue to do that because we do have a lot of appointments to still do. I do plan on bringing 5 judicial board appointees forward near the beginning of the summer, so be on the lookout for that. That will be a long list as well. It's because we have an exceedingly big responsibility of what this judicial board is going to look like, since it's 7 people and we're appointing 5 of them. So please be on the lookout for that. I had a really successful meeting with Assistant Vice Chancellor Susan Seplow, along with the Director of Housing, along with the Director of Residential Life. We had a representative from the Student Wellness Commissioner there. Thank you for bringing her out. And then also some people in my office. One of my asks also as a platform was to ensure that the housing application was more queer and trans inclusive. Right now, there's a very extensive supplemental application that makes a lot of queer students feel like they have to justify their queerness to live with people that they feel safe and comfortable living with, which is pretty problematic. And making sure that that application does not make them have to navigate really difficult routes to be able to simply live with someone they're comfortable with, and also kind of deconstructing the same-sex assignments within housing that we have currently. So I do have a commitment, at least from Suzanne, and we have a member of that department there who oversees housing assignments. They are already updating their application, and then we're going to continue to work with them, and it should be rolled out by the upcoming year to make sure that there is no extensive supplemental application that a student simply right at the beginning can indicate their interest in rooming with someone of whatever gender background or preferred gender background that makes them comfortable living with other queer students off the bat and not through a supplemental application. So that's a really big accomplishment that I think will serve students well in the future. The other thing we met about that I would love to work with you all on too, and I'm sure this would maybe fall under FAC and other offices, is laundry service along the Hill. Laundry services on the Hill are, to say the least, in a difficult spot as far as their functionality. Most of the Hill's laundry services do not work most of the time. The dryers and washers, a lot of them are under repair constantly. Students who are already charged $3 for a wash and dry are usually charged much more because their clothes don't actually wash and dry. This is a problem, obviously, and it goes kind of in line with my Blue Book and Scantron initiative, which is the university taking nickels and dimes from students just seems unreasonable when this is something that perceptively could look good. So we're working with Steve Gundish from Housing to see how we can make it more affordable, and also how we can keep these laundry systems from not failing consistently. The wash contract with our laundry services is ending in September. They are planning on renewing it with Wash as of now, but we are trying to insert ourselves in that conversation to make sure that it's going to be A, affordable, and B, that repairs will be done on a more consistent and timely basis. All of the offices of the president has been hired, yay. And then the last thing that you all should be on the lookout for that I will need all your engagement for, and it goes with my first platform of our Centennial campaign engaging the student body, is since I was a representative last year for the Southern California Shared Governance Symposium, which is a symposium with all the student governments of Southern California, UCLA and my office specifically committed to hosting the next Shared Governance Symposium, fall quarter. So we'll be hosting USC, Occidental, Pitzer, other UC schools, and a variety of other private colleges around the Southern California region. Please be on the lookout for that. It's really fun. It's a really awesome experience. You get to meet people who are basically the exact like same position as you, except at all these different types of universities. That's really exciting. I'm going to DC to meet with a lot of those presidents this weekend, so I'll let you know how it goes. The last thing is the chancellor's meeting. On the undergraduate side of things, it went, I think, pretty well. It was really productive. I brought up some of our current topics, like care funding that we had already discussed, and there definitely seems to be a commitment from the chancellor to continue to look into how we can support those programs. I also brought up African Student Union's list of demands, specifically the Black Resource Center, and the chancellor definitely shares a commitment to continuing to work on race demands as well. So that's it for me. Please let me know your questions. Yes.
What, like, around what time in fall quarter is that conference with the other students? Like, I have no knowledge.
Yeah, it will probably be early October. So probably pretty soon because most of the other schools start before us. So,
Do you know how early you guys will know like when that is?
so my office is in charge of planning it. So that's totally, I want you all to be as engaged as possible. So if you have suggestions on like when is not a good time.
I think if it's early October, that's like the beginning of the quarter, isn't it? So like I know people have retreats.
Yeah. That's something we'll look into that. So we'll be working a lot with ASU CLA, hopefully to like get reservations, host spaces and food here. But that's actually something to look out for. Maybe by like week 4 would be maybe a better time than like week 1 or 2. Okay.
Also another small question about the stuff that you were talking about, like the hill and laundry stuff. Are university apartments included in those comments?
I'm not sure if the housing contract with Wash is the same on off-campus or off-campus housing that's supplied by UCLA, or if it's different. So that's something to look into as well. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I would be able to right now, obviously it's a little bit in shambles, so like if your conversations,
Yeah.
something like, is it Lemon?
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if everyone, but someone else.
It's definitely also in shambles on the hill, and I think this is something that needs to be addressed because it's only getting worse. So yeah. Any other questions for me?
Come do your laundry at my apartment. We have really nice machines.
Or you can fight housing. So no, I do think that they do understand the concerns we have, and hopefully we'll like bring that up with Wash and see how we can make them more affordable and operational and functional.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna tell you what I'm talking about, but I really love, if through necessities, like, you sort of helping out with this, collaborating on this, I think, very, things of your interests, and they already expressed, Michelle's already expressed, like, a lot of interest, so she loved that.
Which another thing that SWC and I recently worked on that was, I think, successful was changing like the language of UCLA housing signage on Res Life currently, that says feminine hygiene products instead of like menstrual hygiene products. So we did like get commitment from Res Life to change that language. And I appreciate Michelle representing SWC. They're definitely want to work with her in the future. So thank you for that. Okay, anything else?
So we're finishing up, well, I already sent out that, like, the acceptance forms from the directors, so just trying to finalize all those things. Staff member applications are open through rolling basis. Campus Safety Alliance had a meeting last week. I couldn't be there because I conflict with my class, but CSA will be sending out a Google form soon to have a comment section for the discussion items that they talked about last meeting, and then Campus Safety Alliance is also asking for an extension of comment period for policy 133 and policy 890. And then Monday I had a meeting with Dr. Karen Nero and Dr. Diller about the Congruent Race Scholarship, which is a program that recognizes students who help other students in crisis. So we are planning to partner up with Active Minds as well as create a Congruent Race Committee in order to apply for a Healthy Campus Initiative grant so that we can have another $5,000 in the budget so that the Congruent Race Scholars will extend for another 3 years or so. That's all my comments.
gotten a lot of early submissions, and I hopefully will get like a million midnight submissions. And so please let you guys know if you're interested in applying, just apply. Today also the bill called HR 6, aka Human Contact, passed in the House, but, in terms of legislative prediction, it will probably not pass the Senate, because the Republicans already Senate, and it does not look like it will pass on the timeline. But I guess the lobbying is for it. And then I wanna place the minutes that, do you wanna do that, stop the raising hands? Let's have a secret. Died on June 1st, 2019. She was living with a baby, died in El Paso, living in the hospital because she was delayed medical treatment while she was with it. And that's it.
I submitted my director application this Friday, just to get an application. But it gets enough to say who will be picked based on their application, but just want to interview them. That's it.
I don't have that much to update with, but we're going to First Fridays this Friday at the Buddhas. Number 18, we're leaving from this turnaround, the Ackerman turnaround at 5 p.m. It's just like our commission, but if y'all want to come, you can come. It's not like a public event, but yeah, we had our first staff meeting with all of our staff on board. It went really well, and everyone's super jazzed about their projects, so I'm really excited for that. I assigned a summer reading, a novel, which is important to me because it's The Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Paulo Freire. I think it's really important that the work FACT does is rooted in our culture, and we work to uplift marginalized groups rather than suppress or co-opt from them. So yeah, I hope they do it. If not, I won't be angry, but hopefully they do their assignment. I also met with Satara today, help her, because we're going to be doing a bunch of collabs about sustainability initiatives on the Hill, specifically trying to implement Aussie, which is a reusable container system that FAC has been trying to implement for 3 years, and I'm over it. It's going to get done this year. Like, data burn, mark it down. I'm going to get it done this year. I'm going to finish it. I'm tired of it. So yeah, that's it.
First, that already has it, so.
You see, I literally told the assistant vice chancellor, DeLuca, I said, come on, UC Merced has Aussie. What the hell are we doing? And he was like, you're right. And I was like, you should be embarrassed. And he was like, I am. And then he set up a meeting for me with Diane. So, yeah, it's gonna get done.
We just had Ultra Bloom last Friday, it went really well. Had a great turnout. Then tonight we just had, yesterday, which is basically what happened to Beatles, we did one for going around the Beatles. So I hope that went well, I was here instead, but, it seemed like reservations were doing really well. And then Thursday, we have a last minute event with Cody Co, Q&A, nuts, over like ticket sales and reservations. It sold out in like less than an hour, and we opened new tickets, and that sold out in less than a minute. So we'll see how that goes on Thursday. It should be a little bit around it, but hopefully controlled around it. But it's good to see that people are excited about it. So that's officially the last time. No more surprise times.
Thanks for
We set our office schedule And then I will be setting up a meeting with Roxy and Neil to start having that like orientation relationship so that we can like reevaluate like how orientation goes this summer. I will be at all of the transfer transitions that the transfer center is holding this summer, and I will also be with the transfer center at almost all of the orientations. And then also I will be hopefully starting a conversation with, Assistant Vice Provost and Lincoln about, the way transfers are evaluated for honors.
Do you do any work and stuff with TSC?
Kind of. I just know about them and it's through AAP, right? Yeah, so they usually do a lot of stuff, with the transfer center.
That's just a space I suggest of being highly involved because that's where you find a lot of transfers out of.
Yeah, and if you need help getting in contact with them, I'm the peer counselor for that too. And I was in the previous years, and I'm really close with the transfer coordinator this year, and I think they would really love to see like you up there from time to time. Yeah.
So today, Body Image Task Force had Lovely Body Yoga in the Hedrick Movement Studio, and Total Wellness had Spice Up Your Life with free terracotta, pot painting, terrariums, and spice education outside Cobell. Those things happen today. Next week, Body Image Task Force has Reading New Photo Exhibit in Provoc Art Gallery, so basically showcasing members of the student body, what they love most about themselves and why. It'd be a great spinal de-stressor. Highly recommend check it out. Definitely makes a smile on my face. And then on Thursday, CPR First Aid Program has their sidewalk CPR event from 10 to 2 p.m. in Green Plaza.
So,
Yeah.
okay, CSC, or, that's not your, okay, so, ASC.
My board is also half hired. The team will be finalized within the end of the week. My plans have also been made and they've gone through all interviews and passed. So I'm really excited and happy that that's over. And I'm also really excited for the folks that we nominated too because they are extremely, they're all extremely qualified. I had a meeting with the administrative assistant in the academic senate, and we kind of broke down the senate and its responsibilities and the 25 appointments that I'll be needing to make. We're pointing out, which was really awesome, that we met early this year. In previous years, they don't meet until like September, October, when school starts. By then, the academic senate's already rolling, and we miss like a critical period in which AAC can focus on like policy work and writing of policy proposals to present to the Senate. So I'm really excited to see what we do on the Senate next year, just because we're knocking out a bunch of different things, and Taylor is really awesome to work with. And I'm going to be meeting with Eric Wells soon too, who's also part of the academic senate, and kind of go over more so what we're trying to do. Thankfully, Safar also followed up with me, and she connected me with Nick, and he's also going to be working with my accessibility director in the textbook affordability campaign that they're trying to launch. Yeah, that's for me.
Last Monday was JRF, which is the last week we're talking today. It was really nice. The weather ended up being really good, which was a surprise. It was just a very nice environment, a good atmosphere. A lot of people came out, which was really great. So that was cool. That basically wrapped up like everything we're doing for the year. We did still have like concert last night, and then we have work tomorrow. It's the last one of the quarter. And pretty sure that's it. Like, we're done programming. My board is like set. And right now my directors are hiring like staff members And they're going to be done by Saturday, and they're like, we'll move to registry, so.
Your admin reps, Ron? No.
I will share that earlier tonight, our softball team won the national championship. Hopefully, it's safe to see that. Beyond that, nothing to report.
How's vacation?
Vacation was nice. It was nice and warm, 80s and 90s. January it rains, so that's always a.
Your umbrella, I have it in my office.
Okay. Good thing I didn't need it. Yeah, we're good in Florida, you expect rain every day in the summer, so.
Nothing from ASC Life, but just a reminder that this Friday is the last of our series of training workshop for student government, so it'll be the leader administrative winter from 8 to 1, so you all can be there. So it'll be a great opportunity for you to meet some senior admin who you might be working with over the next year. Just to get a face-to-face intro before you meet to track them.
I'm a hypocrite because I won't be there, but please be there. It does Dr. Go and Jessica work really hard to get a lot of awesome people there.
I have a question
Literally, yeah.
for Jessica.
Yes.
I can ask you later, either, but do you have any updates about when we're gonna switch offices?
The request is in, so we're just waiting to see when they're available to do work. So I'm hoping that things will sort of slow down for final week. Especially so I'm hoping.
I have a giant couch in my office now, so I can't get in. But, yeah.
Yeah, no, it can happen year round. We all work, all the professional staff work year round, so just send me your requests or send them to the SGS email. And request us to come.
Seeing as there's no old business, we're going to move into new business for tonight. Oh, sorry. Naomi, yeah.
Yeah, so, I appointed a mother because he unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, and I also added it last minute to the agenda. So that's also why he couldn't be here tonight. But I appointed a mother to the Writing Success Program because he is the most qualified candidate for the position. He understands the services that CPO offers and understands that the Writing Success Program is a critical position and that it also needs to be effectively used and utilized as well as like this SIOC and the CRC. He knows how big of a role writing success plays for students who benefit from CPO services. So yeah, I'm very sure that he's going to be able to do that work and that he's also going to be able to be within the AAC office too and connect back with us, which was a really critical aspect of all of the appointments that I made, since I didn't just like make appointments to a board. I made sure to like foster relationships so that they can continue to work within my office and so that we are truly being collaborative because writing success is not going to fair inherently.
So moving into new business for the night with discussion item, the length of implementation of council resolutions. Lala's under your name, so you want to take it?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is there any opposition? I'm so sorry. Is there any opposition to it? Okay, seeing as there's no opposition, Amado Castillo is approved for the Writing Success Program. Now going into new business. Discussion item, the length of implementation of council resolution.
Yeah, so basically, that was like, so basically the way, I guess some context, the way that resolutions work right now is that they're only in effect council, like each current council, so like for example, resolutions that we passed already expire once like our term is over, right? And that's something that's recent, was recently changed, so back in, I believe, 2014, I believe, no, 2015, that year's council changed the bylaws so that resolutions would only be in effect for 1 year. And prior to that, resolutions had always been in effect for like basically forever, like council, like each council was held accountable to whatever resolutions have been passed, and so like continuing the efforts that were called on by them by these resolutions. And so I know in talks that I've had with other boards on campus, which they feel that's kind of unfair and unjust, because then what happens is like folks from like marginalized communities that bring forward these resolutions, all their efforts are essentially like erased after a year. So I kind of wanted to have a discussion about it here on council, because I know we talked about it in constitutional review committee, if this is something we would want to change. I guess what are the pros and cons of it, and yeah, we're not necessarily voting on it, more just like the discussion item, because I know something that was also mentioned when we met at CRC was that we would want to hear public comment on this as well. Given that it is, we tend to be hard to get that. Like, I just wanted to open it up to like council to see what y'all think about, like, I guess how you feel the current bylaw are right now with resolutions only being in effect for that year's council.
I think that's a bit of an oversimplification. It's not quite fair to say that a resolution expires at the end of the year. What it is that the resolution is the position of the council that enacts it. After your year ends, it's your history and your legacy. But you can't speak for those that come after you. They may have different positions, but it doesn't mean that a resolution passed by one council ceases to exist. It becomes part of your history, part of your legacy. And I believe the resolutions remain on the USAC website. So they're available for essentially eternity for everyone to see the positions that student governments that have come before them have taken. If there is an issue that's been topic of resolution in the past, and you want to pass a resolution to reaffirm a commitment that was made by the past council, you can do that as a way of essentially signing on to a resolution passed. There may be more updated citations and references you could add in to make something, but not prohibited from passing resolution on a topic that's been passed in past years. And it's not that they expire. It's just that what you pass is what you as a council are saying. Next council may decide they want to pass some resolutions to reaffirm their commitment to what you do. They may pass resolutions that go in a different direction, or they may just move on from those topics. Whatever's been done in the past stays part of USAC, stays on the website. Anything you might do would stay there for those.
I mean, I also just want to add on to that, that I have talked about together about this too, and this definitely has come up in the past, is I worry about doing something like this, about kind of somehow transitioning to, and this might be over dramatizing it, but like indefinitely implementing resolutions from the past in the future. And I think that's twofold. I think like it is our duty to understand the resolutions of the past and what they were and what they said. But like, who's to say, and I mean, we see parallels in the United States government, so we're actually thinking long-term about USAC, is resolutions very well that are passed by councils within the next few years could be deemed outdated or problematic, or I don't even say not relevant, but not relevant 100 years from now, or even 10 years from now. I also agree with Dr. Geller on the sentiment that a resolution acts as, so there's there's a difference between a statement and a resolution. A resolution, I think, compels somebody to do something. And this is why I get concerned when we bring up resolutions that are like these broad resolutions about like supporting communities or student populations without there being like a call to action or a specific incident that occurred that led us to calling for that action to be taken. So with that in mind of what the intention of a resolution is, I don't necessarily, I think it's dangerous to make it be implemented permanently, or on a continuous basis, because it doesn't make sense for us to decide what the council's priorities for the next council should be. It makes sense for what our stance was on it and what our demands were as a council, because we see how drastic this council changes each year. So I want to keep that in mind, but I do see the intention of like, I also see the point that we shouldn't have like work go to waste or like our statements and actions go to waste. And I do agree with Dr. Geller and I think Jessica that like that those statements being posted and publicized kind of speak truth to that. It's like seeing what our priority submissions were. But there can be disagreement on this, and I don't ultimately have a vote. So if there were to come to a vote, I can't vote. So that's that about that.
This is your centennial year. It's an opportunity, if you wanted to highlight resolutions of the past, you might do that as part of your centennial campaign to bring attention to the work of the councils over the past 100 years.
I'll tell everybody else about this.
My only question is kind of, because you said, you kind of gave like a specific definition for what you feel like resolutions are like meant to like achieve, like to be for, which I don't like agree with, or no, I don't disagree with. But I still feel kind of like iffy, and I said this like a long time ago, the first resolution, like that we as a council have not established like how we collectively do resolutions, like what do you think is necessary, like what calls for resolution, or like that type of like our standards and setting resolutions or whatever, like maybe not just like a point. It's like I feel like it's kind of hard to talk about this without us as a council, even having established like in what cases do we write or pass resolutions.
I mean, generally, don't forget this.
Oh, this is just a question for Dr. Miller. Robert brought up like the phrase like the difference between like a statement and a resolution. Can you explain the difference? And because I mean, we haven't talked about statements at all.
There's a state, could be a policy motion.
What I mean by statement is like, this didn't happen much last year, but the year before, I forget what the incident was. Like we would post on Facebook, like a letter that would just say, council wishes to sincerely give their sympathies for this or that. A resolution to me is much more like, therefore let it be resolved that these people need to do this thing, this action needs to be taken over this specific incident.
A resolution typically has a standard format. We start out with a recitation of facts. Goes, where is this, and where is this, and where is this? Therefore, and then you begin to call for actions. Or you, it's some sort of concluding statements. It might be, therefore, USAC stands in solidarity with. Therefore, USAC calls on Joe Bruin to take X action. Some sort of conclusion based on the facts that you've cited. But you can, at any point as a council, authorize your president or one of the other offices to write a letter to a particular administrator or official on or off campus, expressing some sort of sentiment. So you have different ways of being heard. And I believe last week you had a bit of a conversation about the idea of, as I read in the minutes, it's resolutions about policies that are being reviewed. Actually, what I was hoping that you would do when there are policies that affect students' lives that are being revised, that you would send some sort of a letter in response saying, here's what USAC thinks about the proposed policy. These are the things we like, these are the things we don't like, here are recommendations that we hope you consider, so that you have your voice heard. You have your voice heard through the students you appoint to sit on different committees, but you also have the opportunity to be heard on things that there isn't a specific committee to address, to be heard outside of the quarterly meetings that Robert will have with the chancellor, that various of you will have with the different administrators you'll be working closely with. So when there's something that seems timely or significant, you can pass a resolution if you want to take a position or call for some sort of action. You can also write a letter or post a statement on the website or draft an op-ed piece for the Bruin. There are different ways you can communicate what, as a council, you're thinking. And so those are just different options you have. When it's a resolution, it's been standard practice that they go on the website and they remain there indefinitely. Other types of letters and actions you might take wouldn't necessarily have that same type of long-term posting, but it doesn't mean that you can't take those actions. You can't, as appropriate, promote them through your different websites and Facebook pages. So you've got lots of options, lots of flexibility, so that when there's an issue that you believe is relevant to undergraduates, and as USAC, you want to be heard, go do it.
I'm scared I'm gonna open up a can of worms. I don't want to, because I don't want to stay here that much longer. But, like, what weight do resolutions have? Because to me, they just kind of feel like a piece of paper, or like monopoly money, like it's pointless. And like, we can touch on this a little bit. We discussed it in the Campus Safety Alliance meeting, how other UC universities were able to actually draft policy through their student governments to enact change in terms of like carrying and concealing weapons on campus. But our resolutions have no, like, as far as I know, like, there's like, yes, we want to do this. It like, doesn't mean anything.
I mean, that's a problem that I think the Daily Bruin had a really interesting piece like a week ago that I also agree with, which is like, and I mean, Dr. Joe, feel free to like, disagree with this, but like one idea that I was thinking is like that these policies that impact students like should almost be required to like go through councils, at least GSA and USAC, or like especially ones pertaining, for example, to campus safety. Like campus safety shouldn't have to like beg for administrators to show up to like talk to us about them.
You could make a resolution saying we ask all policies to come before us that affect student life. And so then.
They can just say no.
Yeah. Can't everyone open, like,
But you could make a statement of you expect it to
That's
come.
really, and like Robert and I have talked about this, is like, we can pass as many resolutions as Robert's not enough, actually not. And so it's like, we can ask anyone to do anything with the resolution, but you want to throw it in the trash, just not open it. Like,
I do want to say that the administration does read our resolution. Like when I met with Chancellor Block yesterday and when I meet with Robert Gordon, they know the resolutions, they have read them, they know what they say. I think the more fundamental problem is, yeah, they could just choose to ignore them.
I mean, they can read them, but it's still like, we pass it. Well, people aren't even not engaged in USAC. I feel like resolutions don't put like tangible pressure on anybody to do that.
If you pass a resolution and never discuss it again, and there's never any other action that happens, of course it's ignored.
Which to be
But if there's a resolution that is passed and there are systematic policy changes and resolutions and events and forums and those kinds of things, that has to go a little more way.
Yeah, which I was about to mention is a lot of our resolutions, even last year, were not like actual feasible demands. They were like, we affirm our commitment to this community, and the administration should be held accountable for this and that. You know, what's administration supposed to do to that? Like, right? Like, if we give actual tangible ways that we want them to invest or do something, I think I'm like more of an optimist about this. I think that they would be more willing to do so than a lot of our past resolutions like last year were just like, we demand that the administration reaffirm their commitment to this or that community. It's meaningful, it means a lot. I think that's important. I don't think it really puts a burden on administration to actually do anything. Which I think that's our responsibility as council, is like, when we're drafting these resolutions, we should be very intentional about what our demands are. Because if we demand things that are like actually feasible things that administration can do, I'm an optimist and say that they'll do it, or at least they'll agree with us more than not, more cases than not.
Onto that, I feel like it does help to strategy to feel like we did say that we wanted to do this. Everyone has to take the ambitious goal, right? And like we said that was our resolution for the year, and for the future, other council members want to uphold the resolution block. I don't think so, but the council members still agree. Like it does help to have a precedent. USAC approved of this, other entities approved of this. Like it helps build a track record in terms of when we can keep people accountable in that very basic sense, just in terms of like a negotiation. Like it's not like a complete waste of like time.
Well, and I think going off like you know, that I think part of the, I don't want to say part of it because I also wasn't here when resolutions were in effect, or like you know they were in effect forever. I guess you could say like part of the reason why it may be hard for resolutions have such carry such power is because like admin knows that like by the time like that council's turn ends, like they're longer held accountable to like committing to these things that like that council said with it. I mean, I do recommend that like they are still on the website, but like let's be honest, how many times are admin going to go onto the website, check, oh, let's see what the council has to ask and see if we have to keep doing this and like they just won't continue doing that. Like, because then at that point, the new council has other things in mind that they still want to continue. But I think there's like a whole larger conversation right now, right? Where like it's where we kind of have to define what resolutions are for and what we should do when we do pass resolution. Because I think part of the reason why they are so ineffective is because there is no set thing aside from it. It's an opinion of council, right? So I think that's where I'm kind of getting at, is that resolutions shouldn't just be like an opinion of council. They should be calls to action. That's like where having them be in place for longer than a year is what kind of allows for one USAC to have like not, I don't want to say tangible change, but like USAC as a council has these things that they are continuously working to like implement and like something that we continue to pass down from council to council. Because I think one of the critiques that USAC gets a lot is that they don't do anything. Obviously, we know that's not true because we know all our work that our officers and our commissions do, but I don't think people see that in a larger campus sense. They just see it like, well, it's just that office and that commission do that work. So I think moving forward, like, I guess we define what a resolution is and how that, like, how effective they can be is something that was really, I guess, motivating to bring this up because, like, I think it could be very powerful for, like, resolutions to continue carrying sense of, I don't know, like, power or, like, accountability, I guess you could say. Because, like, I mean, right now, I mean, I think it's very, very, like, great that resolutions do, like, reaffirm students and, like, really, like, I guess, support them and, like, say they're supporting them, but I think resolutions can have so much more potential of being, like, decide to make them be more intense.
I know it's not like a public comment thing, but.
Good, see my time.
Okay, something that I would wanna add as someone who has like passed a resolution, get past their council, I have found in my experience as a student org that's not, part of student government, that having a resolution passed affirming like support for one of our campaigns or any of the work we're doing has been very helpful in our efforts to meet with administration and as a way to kind of legitimize the efforts. And I see it as a way for you all as council to say like, we as representatives of the student body take some of this power that's been given to us and give it back to other student orgs that do kind of need that support and a little more like legitimacy behind their advocacy. So that is an aspect of it that I would say I found very helpful and very valuable to the work that we do on this campus. So I think that aspect of it, while it might not seem like it carries a lot of weight, and I understand the perception of it as just like a signature on a piece of paper, it has gone a pretty long way in my experience.
And one thing I would say that other universities do that we haven't done yet is on the external end with like the city and the state is a lot of other colleges, and UCLA is not going to include in this, pass joint resolutions. Trinity and I from USC are trying to work on one right now with like survivors of sexual assault, and then also work on like state funding with the other UCs and also private colleges. Like UCLA never passes joint resolutions with other universities that like would actually go. Okay. I'm saying to the extent that I'm talking about issues facing both of our universities in a way that like is identical on both fronts. Do you know what I'm trying to say, Joanna? Like,
I'm just saying like it has been done, and it's not like the new what you do.
what? I know. That's my point. I just don't think it's been utilized.
Like here you said like, yeah, really the last year we did.
Which university are you referring?
I'm saying like multiple universities here at UCLA, like we got some like.
No, but what resolution are you talking about? It was a joint resolution with another group. I just don't know.
It was the ASUS, I believe. Because there was a huge act and the House need resolution had a lot of those very.
Yeah. No, so I knew about House meeting. I did not know that the ASU was a joint resolution. Okay. I do think that utilizing that. My point with that is that utilizing that method of resolutions is really beneficial. I think given the examples you gave, I think that like goes to show that. So once again, compliments. Yeah, then.
I guess I would also go on to Dr. Geller's point about like making sure that we're doing things like at critical times, like for example, policy 133, that could really benefit from like either a letter of support from council or like even a call to action for them to extend their public commentary time, because I think it goes today.
That's what
Yes. Right, so like CSA is asking for an extension, but council as a governing body could have also aided in that. So I think it really is in our best interest to try to continue to make these resolutions be like call to actions and then critique it from there. And to see if like anything changes or anything.
One thing that I can do for you, anytime a call for comments on a proposed policy crosses my desk, I'll forward it to Robert so that he can share it with you, and you can decide as a council whether it's something that one or all of you want to react to.
Which I
I can't guarantee that I'll see every policy that's being revised, but those that I see, I'm glad to forward on, so that you have that opportunity to become aware and to be heard.
And I do want to say that I think the two policies that are up right now, we should, I've already said that we should make some sort of statement for. Also, what I was referring to, John, was not joint statements. I know that we have joint resolutions. I'm in joint resolutions with other universities, just to clarify.
I mean, I still don't think that that's the most, like, that's not actually like our core issues.
Oh, it's not. It's not.
Because that's the whole thing that I'm trying to, maybe address. It hasn't done, but it's just not the answers to our issues in the sense of like, we're not doing enough, like, yes, we're not doing enough, and like, even if we got more sponsors and like, coalitions, but it wouldn't like do enough.
Yeah, definitely. Do I have any other comments about this? Okay, this is definitely a continuing discussion. I appreciate you brought it up, because I think it's important that we figure this out. Okay. Whew. Our last item on the agenda is the summer guidelines that Jessica sent out. Thank you for getting that for us. Did everybody get that email? The summer meetings, video conferencing, USAC guidelines? So sorry.
No, I said,
Okay, good. And she said, there are a few changes I just see right off the bat is instead of 13 council members, just 15 council members. Where does it say that? Oh, it is comprised of 13 offices and commissions. Should be in physical attendance in Kirkhoff 417. I think that should just be in physical attendance in Kirkhoff or Ackerman. Who has the, should we change on your call?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 15 offices. And then just all the time it says Kirkhoff 417. You can just say, you guys can feel the space. Or should we say? I think you are you?
I said I'm working 9 to 5
Oh.
and not in Halloween.
I think I thought, I think it was next in line. Well, I sure all of us, okay. Okay.
That's something just to where you will need a chair of the meeting, so if like none of those people were physically here on campus can be chairing the meeting, then. So if someone has to be here to chair, probably stay there. I just thought we were all on this.
Yeah, so.
I guess
Mama will
we
get together.
want to put that in the guidelines. I think it's just, it makes it really challenging to share from the, USAC live that we're looking at. And then if you run into any tech issues, and let's say like there's no Wi-Fi or something happens and it goes out, then nobody can continue on with the meeting if there's no physical check here.
Okay. We have one.
Except for the first.
I think we will always have one person here, at least. So that's good about that. So you're gonna be here for all of except the first one?
Let me double check.
Who lives here? Who lives in LA?
Okay, I can't remember for the first two.
I'll be here regularly on
Honestly,
Sunday.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna be here almost all summer too, but like, please, you really want this. Do you want me? Do you want me as a chair? You're great. I don't know. Come on.
It's okay.
No. I won't make you drive up. I'm not gonna make anybody drive up. Please co-chair. Co-chair?
Sure, yeah. I mean, you just want to consider if you're not gonna have any if there's no action items that need to be set around, there's no funding, then, you probably would be okay not meeting.
Okay. I feel like we know we're contingency though, right?
Well, if there's contingency, but yeah, if nobody's applied, then there's no
Okay.
funding. Yeah, it would just be for funding decisions, any other action items, if you're doing any commitments.
Yeah.
We're not gonna change person in this room.
Can we change it so that we can share online, like if there's no one here? I don't think it's a bylaw.
You can put it in your guidelines, your meeting guidelines, I'm sure that, yeah, I think in the guidelines, that the chair should be in this level, and so that's too much change in these guidelines.
Yeah.
You can certainly do that.
Okay.
We can do it. The chair needs to be the creator of Google Hangout.
Well, it's not as much creator, it's just more that they need to manage it. Like, who's
Yeah,
on?
manager.
Yeah, it's more so that, you can, yeah, because doing a virtual participation, it's sometimes hard to hear people or hard to see if they're trying to make a comment, and so you need somebody watching the
You're doing
live.
Hang out on the phone and.
Yeah, you need someone to watch the live stream and call on people, and then you also, in terms of voting, like, you actually need to take a roll call, so that you can make sure you accurately capture what everybody's saying.
We did make it work last year.
How do you live stream?
I'm sorry?
How do you live stream?
It's part, so USAC Live is, you utilize Google Hangout, so then basically, you just join in that live stream, and so when you're talking, the people watching the live stream see your face, and then when you're not talking,
Yeah.
it's the counter.
It works, like, it is messy, but it works. I wouldn't
I
say
mean,
that.
you can turn off your video, but yeah, you pop up when you speak.
Do you think that we should make the guidelines comfortable given that people are going to be in your places. And no one is willing to make an 100% commitment to being physically in your places.
Okay, let's do this.
It's important what Diane just said, Shama is very reminded, but she did mention that, like, moving out might not be working too hard. Like, because those are my comments on you can.
But she also said that she was willing to be the person like staff. Which Jonathan.
It was both of them.
It was Jonathan.
Yeah.
There will be very few times where we have everybody here, and I think like that's something. I'm more concerned that it's per consistently, but it is something to note that like last year we did have consistent people who were not at summer meetings.
I just wanted to be cognizant of the fact that we do school hangouts, because also that maybe excluded
Yeah.
entirely, and she's not here to remind us of that, so I just wanted to remind all of us.
I think focusing back on these guidelines, the first thing we should, and thank you Jessica, we changed it to room viewpoint room. I think the simplest solution to this is just to have a clause saying, if no one can make it, the meeting shall be shared online.
Yeah.
Sure, but in valid order, in order of succession.
Valid order.
So I'll just add if we know
It's present or will be.
Yeah, I don't like joking about like not wanting to do this, but obviously like I will definitely share if no one else is. That will be here in Westwood for like personally.
Okay, the proposal right now is the chair of each summer meeting of the USAC should be in physical attendance in VR throughout the duration of each meeting. If no chair is physically present in order of succession, the meeting can be chaired via Google Hangouts. Or can we do video conference actually, in case it's not, in case it's not. Can we change that anywhere on there? Video conference instead of Google Hangouts, okay. The last thing is there's a spelling error, which is super lazy. It's just at the bottom. There's like feel or peel or teal. Oh, sheet, wait, what was it?
Sign sheets, is the three during voting, the chair will ask the member of the for a vote. We just-
Yes, cheer.
Yeah, their vote.
Second page, cheer. Oh, okay. What do we want to do for that?
Can we change it to ask each member for their vote?
Yes. Oh, okay, so at the very bottom, the very last page, number 3, during vote, we'll ask each member for their vote, and then sheet instead of cheer. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, they managed to set it up.
No, I was gonna say, because like, it says inter vice president or next to mine.
So all you do is you'll set up the Google Hangout, you'll send out the link in the like group meet for all of us, and you'll set up the logistics and everything happens, and then post it on Facebook.
Well, so we'll like start
Essentially, yes. You will start like the same way the council meetings work, is like you'll set it up and then like the chair will share.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you technically need 2 people in this room, one person's gonna share, one person's gonna manage and set live and watch the videos to see who is raising their hand, commenting, and that's it. So you technically need 2 people. At least.
Okay. Yes, that will have to do this a lot for us last year.
Which you may wanna, whoever's gonna do
Jimbo.
USAC live, you may wanna show them the video.
I got you.
Okay. Well, I've seen that I people set up the Google Hangout if they're not here, whereas the person in person will set up the like live stream. Does that make sense? Okay, are there any changes to this? I don't think we could like, as long as we have that broad statement that the chair can share when there's nobody here and change it to BBR and spelling errors are clear, I think it's fine. And don't want to spend 3 hours on this. Yes.
Yeah, I think it says, at the bottom, the USAC reserves the right to change studies guidelines for the majority vote.
Can we do, okay, just because I'm a little bit triggered by the judicial board stuff, can we do council members? In case, I just do not want a J board case saying that it needs all the council propositions, the council members in office. Because I do not want it to say the constitutional council members, all 15 of us, maybe not 3. Okay. Anything else? Okay, then we're gonna do a vote, or a, not vote, a consent item vote. Is there, okay. Is there any opposition to the summer guidelines for the virtual meeting participation? Okay, then the motion power, the summer guidelines for the virtual meeting participation are approved. Yay, I'm adjourning the meeting at 10:44 p.m. Okay. Good and welfare. And sign sheet. Yes, Joanna.
Y'all don't want to broadcast your lives and do some live.
Yes. I'm gonna sign all of them.